It is Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., May 13, 2025. I am calling to the order of the regular meeting of the College Park City Council, College Park, Maryland. We'll begin the meeting with a moment of silent meditation, followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, this will be led by Councilmember Ray Ranker. Colleagues, do you want to add anything to the meditation? Councilmember Hernandez.
I just want to welcome the last living Israeli-American hostage, Idan Alexander, and pray for all of the families who didn't get the same peace, and for the release of the remainder of the hostages in Israel, or excuse me, in Gaza.
Thank you. Any other? Seeing none, please join me in a moment of silent meditation. Councilmember Ranker.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We'll do the roll call, starting with District 1 City Council Member Hernandez.
Present.
Councilmember Hill.
Present.
Dr. Esters.
Here.
Ms. Whitney.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Present.
Councilmember Mackey.
Present.
Councilmember Ranker.
Present.
And Councilmember Rake.
Here.
We'll do the announcement in the same order, starting with Councilmember Hernandez.
I'm super excited to have the city street fair happening in North College Park. Really excited for folks to come and attend. It'll be on Sunday, May 18th from 1 to 4 p.m. I'll let Kenny talk about it, but it's just exciting to see this event, and I know a lot of the residents up in North College Park are super excited. Additionally, just giving everyone a heads up that at this weekend's farmers market, Bee City will be there. And it's just a great opportunity to see some of the other active members of the community participating and showcasing some of the good work that they're doing on these board and committees. So I'll take this opportunity to make sure to plug that there are vacancies and for you to apply for any of the advisory boards and committees. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hill.
Yes, it was a fun time this past Friday Night Live event that we had, and I want to thank everybody who came out and participated and made it a lot more fun. I'm also looking forward to the Spring Street Fair, and I hope to see you there.
Thank you. Looks like everyone is excited. Dr. Esters.
Good evening, everyone. Two announcements. One is about the Berwyn District Civic Association meeting, which will be on Thursday, May 15th at 7:30 p.m., held at Vital Traditions on Berwyn Road. Also, a reminder that there is a special election for our county executive. So, June 3rd is the day of election. And early voting starts on May 28th through June 2nd. There will be a drop box at the Lakeland Lakeland College Park Community Center, and a voting center will be here at City Hall. So please do not forget to vote.
Thank you. And Ms. Whitney.
Thank you. Just a reminder to everyone that it is finals week for students across the street, and they're doing their final projects, and a lot of them are very tired. So just speaking about my own daughter. And also next week is commencement. Commencement season starts over on campus, so that will be running 4 days this year from Tuesday through Friday. So there's going to be a lot of traffic and a lot of people and excited families walking around, so please keep an eye out and feel free to celebrate with them.
Certainly. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I want to announce to make sure everyone remembers that their District 4 will be hosting a virtual event next Wednesday at 7:30. The special guest will be the City University Partnership presenting about the Housing Trust. Also want to say today is called National Apple Pie Day. And I'm sorry I didn't share the wealth and bring some apple pie with me. I'm sorry, it's still in the oven. Okay. Last but not least, I want to also make aware the residents in the Crystal Springs area that Resurface Incorporated, contractor by Washington Gas, will be out doing street repairs and roadway striping work. So I just want to make sure that you are informed about that. And that's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll join you in your kitchen.
So,
Councilmember Mackey.
yes, thank you. Just wanted to shout out to all the seniors that there is an activity at the College Park Woods Clubhouse next Wednesday, so that's a busy day. We also are having renovations done at the College Park Woods Park, so just be aware of that. It starts on May 15th, weather permitting. So if the weather is bad, those dates will be changed. And just wish everyone a happy week, and shouting out to the students to do well on their final exams.
Certainly. Councilmember Ranker?
My thoughts are with students, as their last day of the semester is today and finals begin on Thursday. I believe we still need some members for the Affordable Housing Task Force and Compensation Review Committee, so if members are interested in that, they should be in touch with with your council member.
Thank you. Councilmember Rigg?
Pass.
All right, let's go to our student liaison. The last meeting, can't believe it. Councilmember Ott. Sorry, not student liaison, future council member. Please go ahead.
Since this is our last meeting and the school year is ending, I just want to take a moment to say congratulations to all the University of Maryland graduates, and good luck to all of the students who are currently working on finals. But also for anyone who was interested in our Know Your Rights discussion event on tomorrow, May 14th at 3:30 p.m., the Arts and Humanities Department at University of Maryland is having a pop-up discussion about immigration and migration. If that's something people may be interested in, I wanted to point that out.
Certainly. Thank you for sharing. And Ms. McDonald?
I just want to echo the sentiment of congratulating seniors on their four-year journey. Seniors, doctoral students, master's students, whatever it is, completing any form of education is an accomplishment in and of itself. So congratulations to all the students.
Certainly. Thank you. Let's go to our city manager's report, Mr. Young.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and residents of College Park. Just one quick announcement. Our first ever spring street fair will be this Sunday on May 18th, and it will take place from 1 to 4 p.m. Around Davis Hall on 51st Avenue. The roads in the area will begin closing around 10 a.m., so if any residents need assistance, please contact our communications office, and we'll be happy to assist them with that. We'll have live entertainment, we'll have some cooking demonstrations, a lot of arts and crafts, and a number of other vendors. So we're looking forward to it and hope to see you all there.
Thank you. Any question? Ms. Mackey?
So are we going to still have the last cleanup day this coming Saturday, or is it
May 17th, right?
May 17th? Okay, so that is just, okay, great.
Thank you for reminding us. Any other question for Mr. Young? Seeing none, let's do acknowledgement. We have one elected official, former District 1 City Councilman Mark Schroeder is in the audience. Thank you, Mr. Schroeder, for coming and joining. All right, I have this week 5 proclamations to make, but thankfully proclamations are pretty short, so I'll be hopefully a little bit quick. The first one is Kids to Park Day, City of College Park Proclamation, May 2025, and it reads as follows. Whereas May 18, 2025 is the 14th Kids to Parks Day, organized and launched by the National Park Trust and held annually on the 3rd Saturday of May. And whereas Kids to Park Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks, public lands, and waterways. And whereas the day connects kids and families with the local state and national parks and public lands through thousands of park events and promote discovery and exploration in the great outdoors. And whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and hypercholesterolemia. And whereas Kids to Park Day will broaden children's appreciation for the nature and outdoors. And whereas Kids to Park Day will recognize the importance of creating responsibility while enjoying the benefits of the outdoors. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the City of College Park, Maryland, that May 18, 2025 is designated as Kids to Park Day and encourage families to explore our great American parks, proclaimed this 13th day of May 2025, Fazil Kabir Mayor, City of College Park. The second proclamation is the Bike to Work Day, which is coming this Friday, and there will be an event this Thursday, but the city event is going to happen on this Friday? Thursday. Also on Thursday. Okay. Normally it happens on Friday, I think.
And normally it's Friday, but this year it's Thursday.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. It is as follows. Whereas May is National Bike Month and has been celebrated in communities from coast to coast since 1956, and whereas the bicycle is an economical, healthy, convenient, and environmentally sound form of transportation and an excellent tool for recreation and enjoyment of all the city has to offer. And whereas bicycle commuting is an effective way to improve air quality, reduce traffic congestion, and conserve energy while also improving health and fitness. And whereas employees and employers benefit when their place of work is a bicycle-friendly business, and increasing numbers of city businesses have installed bicycle parking facilities to encourage bicycle use. And whereas National Bike to Work Day is May 16, which promotes bicycling as a viable means of transportation to and from work, and the city celebrates Bike to Work Day with a pit stop at City Hall. And whereas the City of College Park is committed to improving bicyclist safety through initiatives such as establishing the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, BPAC, applying for federal Safe Streets and Roads for All SS4A grant funding, and supporting infrastructures and policy improvements that promote a safe and inclusive environment for all road users. And whereas creating a bicycling-friendly community has been shown to improve residents' health, well-being, and quality of life. Now, therefore, I, Fazil Kabir, Mayor of the City of College Park, Maryland, do hereby proclaim the month of May to be Bicycle Month throughout the City of College Park, and encourage all residents and visitors to try bicycling for recreation and as an alternative to driving. Proclaimed this 13th day of May 2025, Fazil Kabir, Mayor, City of College Park. Again, please do come to the City Hall on May 16. I plan to come and bike to work that day. Let's see how it goes. All right, the third proclamation we have is about the National Public Works Week, which is May 18 to 24, 2025. Whereas the City of College Park proudly recognizes National Public Works Week, May 18 to 24, 2025, as an opportunity to highlight the essential role public works professionals play in our daily lives. And whereas this year's theme, People, Purpose, Presence, honors the dedication and impact of public works staff who contribute to the health, safety, and quality of life in the communities they serve. And whereas public works employees of College Park manage a wide range of vital services, including solid waste programs, tree and landscape maintenance, playground upkeep, fleet and facility maintenance, engineering services, invasive species management, snow and ice removal, and overall neighborhood safety and cleanliness. And whereas their contributions directly support the comfort, sustainability, and livability of our city, making College Park a place we are all proud to call home. And whereas National Public Works Week offers an opportunity to recognize and appreciate the hardworking men and women who provide these critical services with professionalism, purpose, and pride. And whereas this week, the city takes a moment to acknowledge and appreciate the hardworking men and women who are instrumental in sustaining a city we can all be proud of. Whereas we all also extend our gratitude to the community whose support and active participation make the work of the Public Works Department both meaningful and successful. And now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park that the week of May 18 to 24, 2025 is hereby recognized as National Public Works Week in the City of College Park, proclaimed this 13th day of May 2025. Fazil Kabir, Mayor, City of College Park. I now recognize our Public Works Director, Mr. Marsili, and many staff in the audience. Congratulations, and we do recognize the hard work you do every day for our residents. Thank you. All right, so we have 2 more to go. The fourth one is Public Safety Month, which is May 2025. I want to recognize our Director of Public Services, Mr. Jatinder, who is passionate about Public Safety Month. No, you don't need to come, just want to recognize you. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the City of College Park, Maryland is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, infrastructures play both in everyday life and when disasters strike, and whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas Mission Possible, the theme of Building Safety Month 2025, it should be, I guess, encourages us all to raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park that the month of May 2025 is recognized as Building Safety Month in the City of College Park, proclaimed this 13th day of May 2025. Fazil Kabir, Mayor. And here goes the last one, which is the 2025 Teachers Appreciation Week. And I want to thank our staff for putting some appreciation message to the social media and other communication channels. Thank you. This totally appropriate and needed. Thank you. And it reads as follows. So the Teachers Appreciation Week is May 6 to 10, 2025. Whereas teachers are backbone of our educational system, playing a vital role in shaping the minds and futures of our children through dedication, innovation, and compassion. And whereas the City of College Park recognizes the teachers' work tirelessly to engage students, inspire curiosity, and provide a safe, supportive environment in which all learners can thrive, and whereas our teachers have consistently demonstrated professionalism, adaptability, perseverance, particularly in the face of new challenges and changing educational landscapes, and whereas the achievements of and well-being of students in College Park are directly linked to the commitment and skill of the educators who guide them every day. And whereas Teachers Appreciation Week provides an opportunity for our community to express deep gratitude and admiration for the hard work and lasting impact of our educators. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor of the City of College Park, do hereby proclaim the week May 6 to 10, 2025 as Teacher Appreciation Week in the City of College Park, and encourage all citizens to recognize and celebrate the invaluable contributions of our teachers to the growth, development, and success of our youth. Proclaimed this 13th day of May 2025, Fazil Kabir Mayor, City of College Park, Maryland. All right, at this time, I'll entertain any amendments to, and then approve the agenda. Is there any? Councilor Ray, I think there's one, right?
Yes, I move to remove the proposal to add Park Mobile 25G51 from the consent agenda.
Thank you. This doesn't need a second, so.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? So the agenda has been approved. So we'll be discussing the park items, park mobile items on the action items, which is agenda number 13. All right, let's go to public comments on consent agenda or non-agenda items. If anyone in the room wants to speak, please come forward to the podium. You have 3 minutes to speak any items which are not listed as action items or other consent items. If you have joined online, please raise your virtual hand. We'll allow you to speak. Seeing none, let's come back to approving consent agenda. Let me read them out. There are 2 of them because one has been moved to action. The first one is 25G50, which is the reappointment of Arlis Perez to the Housing Authority for a 5-year term to expire on May 1, 2030. And second and last one is 25G52, which is the approval of letter of support to the University of Maryland's Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering for their Safe Streets and Roads for All planning grant application to the Department of Transportation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, any abstention? The consent agenda has been approved. Nice. So let's go to presentation tonight. We have 2 presentations, and the first one is about the awarding of the Employee of the Year award to Jorge Arturo Lopez Garcia, and this will be taken by our city manager, Mr. Young, and probably other staff as well. Thank you. Congratulations.
Good evening, and I'll try not to embarrass him, but we have some really good things to say about Arturo Lopez Garcia. He's the Employee of the Year, is chosen by our Personnel Committee, which is made up of an elite group of staff who have received Employee of the Quarter awards, the Merriam Wolf Award, and the Spencer Harris Award this past year. The Personnel Committee selected Arturo as the 2024 Employee of the Year. Congratulations to you. Arturo was nominated for his many attributes, which include his excellent attendance, his punctuality, his ability to tackle various assignments, as well as his positive attitude while completing assignments. He's known for his honesty, diligence, respect, flexibility, dedication, and reliability. Arturo was not only nominated and selected as Employee of the Year, but he was also selected as a Spencer Harris Award winner for 2024. He was chosen to receive this award and was among 12 others who were nominated. The Spencer Harris Award is an award to public works employees who best exhibit the highest standard of public service embodied by the late Spencer Harris, a former dispatcher in the Public Works Department. Arturo began his career with the City of College Park in September of 2009 as a laborer in the landscaping division. In 2014, he obtained his Class B commercial driver's license along with a tanker endorsement, and shortly after was promoted to a motor equipment operator, one with DPW Solid Waste Division. And during that time, Arturo received his front end loader certification and last year obtained his Class A commercial driver's license, allowing him to operate heavy combination vehicles. And he was successfully promoted to a motor equipment operator too. Arturo possesses the skills to operate all of DPW's heavy equipment. Many of coworkers request Arturo to be on their crew when filling a staffing gap. Arturo is a very versatile employee who is skilled at performing all DPW tasks, regardless of what the job may entail. His commitment to College Park and to the Department of Public Works is displayed each day through his enthusiasm and dedication to any job done. He is consistently willing to flex his work schedule to accommodate our operational needs. Arturo has been reliable and consistent hard worker since he came to DPW in 2009, and he displays extreme determination to get things done, even when tasks are complex. Arturo takes his initiative to find additional work if he completes assignments early, and he is thorough and prides himself on completing work correctly the first time. Arturo is always ready to receive an assignment, and he doesn't hesitate when given something new or unfamiliar. Your coworkers and your managers greatly appreciate the dedication and initiative you have shown in the performance of your duties. Your service sets an example for everyone, and on behalf of the city, we want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we get his kids?
Yeah, family maybe together they can. Can it? Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
gather together.
Oh, gather together?
Do you not? Yeah, it might be a good idea if we go down.
Yeah, let the family take that picture. It's a family.
Great. Congratulations again for your hard work. Well deserved. Thank you. All right, the next presentation is about the farewell to Erika Aute and our assistant Deputy Assistant Liaison Anna K. McDonald. I need to go down to the podium and do the business. Erika and Anna, please come. So it's hard to believe that the time has come. Time really flies when you enjoy, right? You both, Anna and Erika and Anna, worked so hard for the community of College Park, and you are the one, you connected the campus community with the neighborhoods community, right? And that's why we really appreciate your work. And a couple of things. I think this is an opportunity we can highlight. And one of the things that you just mentioned actually in the beginning of the meeting, that you have been working on Know Your Rights campaign, right? I mean that is so much timely. and it's so much needed, and thank you for promoting that. You have been an advocate, both of you, advocate of student housing and affordable housing, which is much needed in College Park and the surrounding community. And you have been an advocate, both of you, advocate for pedestrian safety in the campus and the surrounding community. I remember a couple of months ago, you were asking if we could promote our wonderful mental health support program, Care Celeste, to the campus community, and that was much needed. Thank you. And finally, when it comes to the accessibility to the campus community for the students and the long-term residents alike, both of you have been very much, you both promoted that. Thank you so much. So I want to thank you and congratulate you on graduating and wish you all the best. Thank you. We have a small token of appreciation. So, thank you. And probably, before I give the mic to you, if you want to say a few words, but I want to give the opportunity to my council colleagues, if you want to say a few words, anyone from the dais. It doesn't matter really.
Mr. Mayor, I think Erica's mom is here.
Oh, really? I
She'd
didn't
like
know
to take a picture with you guys.
Oh, certainly, we'll do. Can we didn't realize it.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would love to
Certainly, thank you.
give some words here. I've had the pleasure of knowing Erica Adi for a couple years now, and even though I'm the newest person here, I haven't been serving with her in this role for, less than 2 months. I've gotten to know her as a person and as somebody who is courageous, who is kind, who cares about the community, who cares about this city and representing the students well, for somebody who's dedicated, working hard in service for others. And I have had the chance to travel. We did a trip to Tanzania, so I got to experience those new things with her, and I'm just really going to miss her, and I thank her so much for her service to this community.
Certainly. If there is no one,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
certainly.
To Miss Erica, thank you so much for your leadership this past year. You've done a great job in filling the gap of the student liaison in a different way. So I want to say thank you so very, very much for that. And to you, Madam Anna K. McDonald, I've only known you for a short period of time, but I know your heart is always thinking about how you can help others and make sure that they have what they need to be able to have a good start in their life. And I know both of you are going to be lawyers, and so one day I hope maybe I have to call you both of you for service, but just whatever you do it with passion. I know you will, and commitment. And I know we're going to see great things from both of you in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you. If there is no one from the dais, Mr. Hernandez, let's go.
Yeah, just really quickly, I remember when we were doing the student round of interviews, and it was interesting to see various amounts, but everyone always said great things about Erica. And I was just like, really excited to see when she came on and watch her kind of navigate this space. As you all know, I'm new with you. But additionally, Anna came in like hot when there was an empty seat, right? And you guys really pushed together and worked together. I got to see some of those comments be made and really add the student perspective. So thank you both.
Thank you. All right. Seeing none, Mr. Rick?
over here.
Sorry. Oh, Mr. Hill.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As a fellow Terp, I'm very proud of y'all for serving this role, stepping up, and representing our student body. This is a big responsibility, and it took a lot of commitment, staying up late with us on Tuesday nights. And I understand the challenges there, because when we get out, there's very few things left open for you guys to go and eat, and you have to get home in the dark and all that. So you've done a great job, and I'm sure that the way you represented yourselves, represented us on the SGA was very important to the student body, and taking in their interests and sharing them with us has been very valuable to a lot of our discussions, so that we don't have to assume things about what the student needs are or opinions were. You're right there on top of it to help us make these decisions that we need that impacted the student body.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well said. All right. So we'll be missed you dearly. But before I let you go, do you want to say a few words, please? Certainly. So you can use this mic. Give it to me.
Thank you. So I would just like to take a moment to share that I am very proud to have been a part of the City Council as the student liaison. I recall one of my first meetings I set up between a University of Maryland student group advocating for the environment and Councilmember Alan Hugh. We have spent many late nights, sometimes staying after midnight, because all of us care about the people we represent. It is clear that you, the City Council members and staff, are passionate about helping your constituents. I will always appreciate you allowing me to be part of this advocacy in such a passionate environment, and I'll look back on this experience fondly. The City Council has always been a very receptive and accommodating to my ideas. I could not have asked for a better environment to learn about how I can create change in my community. From the first look fair to the Know Your Rights event, I've not only grown as a representative, but also as a person. So thank you for helping me grow and change, and I hope I can continue to do so in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, completely for my time here. As this is our last meeting, and the last meeting that I'll serve as the Deputy Student Liaison, I want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude. Serving in this role has been one of my most rewarding experiences in my time as a student. I've seen firsthand the dedication, thoughtfulness, and hard work in each of you bring to the issues that shape the lives of residents and students alike. Your commitment to listening even when conversations were tough, and your willingness to consider the student's perspective has meant so much, not just to me, but to the broader student community. I applaud this council for leading with both heart and integrity. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of these important conversations. It has been an honor, and I'll carry these lessons with me as I continue to serve and advocate in the future. I leave this role with a heart full of gratitude and a deeper belief in the power of local leadership. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. So now we go to work sessions. No. Oh, yeah, public hearing. Sorry, I missed that. And this public hearing is on about 25002, the ordinance 25002, which is an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, amending Chapter 184, Vehicles and Traffic, by enacting Article 9, Stop Sign Monitoring Systems, Article 184-46 systems on highways located in a school zone maintained by local jurisdiction and systems on state highways located in a school zone as authorized by Article 21-707.1 of the Transportation Article, Annotated Code of Maryland, and schedule the public hearing for Tuesday, May 13, 2025, and this will be taken by our Director of Public Services, Jatinder Coker, and City Attorney Stephanie Anderson. Is going to start. Mr. Coker, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and residents of College Park. This particular item today is beforehand for an action for a public hearing. It relates to the legislation of stop sign monitoring systems. It was brought to the council on 18th of March for a work session discussion, and today it is being presented for a public hearing. Background on the issue is pursuant to section 27-701.1 of Transportation Article, an Annotated Code of Maryland, a local jurisdiction is authorized to use stop sign monitoring system on local and state highways in a school zone in Prince George's County to record violations of state laws requiring obedience to stop signs. Unless the driver of the motor vehicle received a citation from a police officer at the time, the owner or the driver of the motor vehicle is subject to a civil penalty of up to $40. If the motor vehicle is recorded by a stop sign monitoring system during the commission of the violation, the district court has the exclusive original civil jurisdiction in a civil infraction. Several municipalities in Prince George's County have passed the legislation to allow for stop sign monitoring systems. Staff has identified required amendments to the Chapter 184 of City Code and prepared the attached draft 20-0-02 ordinance for the council's review. The ordinance is attached with the council members' package already presented, and it kind of gives all the added language, what has been added to the existing law for Article 184. And if there are any questions related to this matter, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you.
Any question for Mr. Coker before we take the public hearing? I think we already talked a little bit. Thank you for your work. If there is anyone who wants to speak on this, Mr. Schroeder, please come and state your name and if you're a resident of College Park for the record.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Mark Schroeder. My residence is 4909 Muskogee Street. I am speaking tonight as the chair of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. We received the presentation, I believe probably the same presentation as you all received, from the vendor of the stop sign camera. We were favorably impressed. We felt that stop sign enforcement would be a significant assistance in ensuring the safety of pedestrians and bicyclists. So we endorse it for that purpose. We are somewhat concerned that the presentation that we saw, there are identifiable people who are not the driver of the vehicle that is violating the stop sign. They tend to be pedestrians, and we are somewhat concerned about their privacy. So we would encourage you, if you can, to figure out how to redact the faces or other identifying marks of people who are not the offending driver if and when you choose to adopt the system.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? If you have joined online, please raise your virtual hand. We will allow you to speak. Seeing none, I declare that public hearing has been held. All right. So there could be possible action. So let's come back to the council. Is there any discussion or comments before we take motion? Question, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to follow up on Mr. Schroeder's comments, is there any information to respond to that question about redacting? Do we have any information to allude whether that can be done, or you have to get back to us?
Yeah, I think we'll get back to you after we talk to the vendor.
Okay.
Typically, they can angle the camera to only get the necessary information, but I'll confirm it with the vendor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any question, Mrs. Mackey?
I also have an additional question about the same issue. Thank you, Mr. Schroeder, for bringing that up. This material is not going to be out in the public view as like the others were because it was put out, correct? Am I correct? Where it was put on our website so that people could see how it worked, but in general, will those speed
You're
camera
correct.
things?
That was for demonstration. To
Yeah,
show you
demonstration
how
purposes.
it
Correct.
Actually, the product actually worked.
Right.
They won't be available to the public to see.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rigg, motion? Please, go ahead.
So I move to adopt ordinance 25-0-02, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of College Park, amending chapter 184 vehicles and traffic by enacting article 9 stop sign monitoring systems, section 184-46 systems on highways located in a school zone maintained by local jurisdiction and systems on state highways located in a school zone as authorized by section 21-707.1 of the transportation article, annotated code of Maryland.
Second.
Further comments, Mr. Rigg?
Nothing beyond noting that we've been talking about this for a number of months now, and I think, I think we now have in our red folder tonight the first negative comment I've seen about it. I've received, extremely positive feedback from my own civic association and my own local community and from residents in other parts of District 3, and have generally heard a fair amount of enthusiasm for this. I think there's unquestionably a problem. I think we all knew there was a problem with people not stopping at stop signs before the stop sign monitoring demonstration rolled out, and we actually saw, very clear evidence of people just kind of rolling through stop signs. We also know that in our city, we have a fine history of pedestrianism, and one that I want to encourage more of by building more sidewalks, by the way, relevant to a discussion later tonight. But, part of that is making sure that motorists are being properly observant of things like stop signs and crosswalks, and frankly, they're not, right? Like we saw that in the videos that were presented to us by the vendor during that demonstration period. So I think, there's a clear case for a need. I think there's a clear opportunity to enhance public safety in our city. I know it's already been rolled out in several other local jurisdictions. We won't be the first, but I've heard, from those other jurisdictions, a high degree of comfort and satisfaction with the product and how it's been working in their community. So I think it's proper and fitting that we move forward with this tonight.
Thank you. Well said. All right. So we have taken public hearing. We're not going to go to public to get the public comment. So any other comments from the council before I take the vote? Seeing none, I believe I don't need to do a roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? The motion has been approved. Thank you, staff. Thank you, attorney, for your hard work, and hopefully this will be beneficial to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Fantastic. All right. So now we have an action item, which is 25G51, the proposal to add Park Mobile as a pay-by-cell service provider to the city's parking portfolio, and this will be taken by our very own parking enforcement manager, Mr. Miller. Welcome, Mr. Miller.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So this evening, we are actually discussing the proposal to add Park Mobile as a pay-by-cell service provider to the city's parking portfolio. This was moved due to some questions that were raised about Park Mobile. I'm here to answer those questions. So if anyone has any questions for me, I know that Councilmember Ranker and I had talked earlier about some numbers, so more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Certainly. Mr. Ranker, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Miller. Obviously, we don't necessarily know how many folks will end up using this app versus the other options available. I'm wondering if you could comment on how much revenue, if all of the traffic went to Park Mobile, what kind of difference would that make for the city and its revenue?
Certainly. So taking all revenue combined from the State of the City report that we provided to you back in February, if all the meter collection revenue, all the mobile app transactions through our existing current app provider, Ames Amp Park, that would be a total of $547,601.17. If this were to be solely through mobile app payment with Park Mobile, aside from the typical 20 cents per transaction processing fee that they provide us, or they charge us rather, for these transactions, it would equal just by the 3% MOR, which is merchant of record. This is the difference between our current mobile app provider and Park Mobile. They charge the same per transaction amount of 20 cents per to process those credit card payments, which we get billed monthly. With Park Mobile, there is a 3% MOR, merchant of record fee, that is added onto that. So if we were looking at the total revenue of 2024 as Park Mobile only, it would add $16,428.04 just on the MOR, 3% MOR fee. That's separate from the 20 cent per transaction. I also broke it down just a little bit further while we were sitting here. If based on the mobile app transactions for 2024 that went through our current vendor, Ames Amp Park, which was 58,079 total mobile app transactions for the calendar year of 2024, that number totaled $175,796.95. If you added the 3% MOR fee on that, that Park Mobile would add, that also brings that total to an additional $5,273.91.
Thank you. Mr. Ranker.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor this. I mean, I haven't had positive experiences with Park Mobile. I have not, I should say. But I know that that's often anecdotal. But to me, something that is both more expensive for our residents and our visitors, and also brings in less revenue for the city, under these terms that they're offering, I'm opposed to this, unless in some way we can alter the, alter those formulas.
Certainly. Any other question? Mr. Hill?
Didn't we originally have Park Mobile years ago?
No. Actually, prior to COVID, we had a company called Mobile Now.
No.
Mobile Now had a 35-cent convenience fee as a end user. So for the customer on the street, 35-cent convenience fee per transaction. And their 20 cents per transaction processing fee was what the city as the client paid. Unfortunately, when COVID hit, Mobile Now actually had no other fail-safes, so they had nothing to fall back on as a revenue source. So essentially, they shut down in a matter of hours. So for some of the council that was on the dais before us during that time, former city manager Scott Summers had announced that we had to make a drastic move. Fortunately, our current vendor, Ames Parking, who we use for all the software technology for enforcement, permitting, and LPR, they had just released a couple of months prior their own mobile app. And they actually, when I talked to them, were willing to hold at the same amounts for charging both us as the client and the end user on the street the same fees as what Mobile Now had charged. And that has held true for the 5 years since we've had them.
Thank you. Does the university use Park Mobile?
Yes, and that is one of the issues that has come up as to why we've looked at Park Mobile. We did vet out other companies, but Park Mobile is one of the, if not the most recognizable mobile app provider in the country. And we know that they are highly engaged within the DMV here, including the University of Maryland. Most recently, in the last 4 or 5 days, we had a couple of calls from individuals trying to use their Park Mobile app and use our zone numbers that are listed for Ames. So our officers have had to explain to them that, well, Zone 5 in the shopping center is not showing up because you're actually on the Park Mobile app, and that doesn't work here. So we have seen that to be the case. And, you know, it's like anything else that we've talked about. I think this was discussed back in October when we were talking about the CIP funding for the meter replacement project, that technology in any facet is wonderful when it works. But they all are subject to having their own issues, and we've seen that to be the case. We just work through it.
So you're saying that there will be less confusion in the community if the city uses Park Mobile as a vendor?
Yes.
Because people are confused. They don't really know where the jurisdiction ends and where it starts.
Yep.
Thank you. Mayor Protem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Miller, thank you for the presentation, and I appreciate you giving us the additional final points for discussion. I just want to be clear when I make this statement. This is not really intended for us to generate additional revenue for our coffers. This is just a mechanism to streamline what we have, make it more user-friendly.
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Ms. Whitney?
Yeah, I was basically going to make the same point. I would love to see Park Mobile in the city. I use Park Mobile most of the time when I park just because it's so easy. And I would prefer that personally to like trying to figure out, okay, which app is this now that I'm using? So yes, to me, as long as we maintain the other systems of payment and make clear what the other systems are, and hopefully make clear what the end cost, or the app makes clear what the end cost to the user is, we still can pay with coins, everything else. As long as we maintain all of that, then we're just increasing the options and the choices that our residents have, and I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right.
She said what I was
Thank you. If there is no other questions, so this is an action item. I will entertain a motion.
I can make the motion.
Please go ahead, Ms. Whitney.
Okay. Okay, got it. I move to authorize the city manager to enter into a service agreement with Park Mobile LLC as a secondary mobile app provider, subject to review and approval of the city attorney.
Second.
Is that further comments, Ms. Whitney?
I think I've already said what I need to
You
say.
have.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is an action item, so I need to go to the audience if you have any comment on this item. You have 3 minutes. Please come to the podium. Please state your name for the record and if you're a resident of College Park.
Hello, my name is Gavin Neubauer. I live in 4321 Hartwick Road. I just want to comment, I've used both apps extensively. I actually use AMP almost every morning as I park on the street and have to fill it up on the app. There have been a couple issues I've had with it, mostly when it comes to how it works in the shopping center, where I think Park Mobile would work a lot better. So if you're only allowed to get one pass a day, so if you go in the morning to get a coffee and you go later to get dinner with somebody, you cannot pay for that parking on the app. Then you have to go to the machines, of which one it does not accept credit card at the moment. One of them, the Wi-Fi doesn't work. So you walk to the third machine and then you finally can pay for your thing. I think that's very frustrating, probably hard for businesses over there as people fear getting ticketed and may not want to park. And also, having used Park Mobile at the university, there are some added benefits for phones. Like it'll tell you your time on your home screen, which AMP does not do. So you can see if you have 15 minutes left. It'll give you better alerts when you're running out of time. AMP just gives you one. When it says your time is about to expire at 15 minutes, it doesn't tell you that it's 15 minutes until you open the app. So I just wanted to lend you all that, and thank you for considering this.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments? If you have joined online, please raise your virtual hand. We'll allow you to speak. Seeing none. Back to the council. Any further comments before we take the vote? Seeing none, let's, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Ray, Ranker. And any abstention? So the motion has been approved 7-1-0. Right?
Right.
7-1.
I shouldn't hear him say no.
Yeah. 7 in support and 1 in opposition. All right. Thank you, staff, for your work.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy. Fantastic. So I have a suggestion. We have a work session, and the suggestion would be we have some guests from Lakeland community, and it would be nice if we could move the agenda a little bit. If we could discuss the Lakeland neighborhood plan first before the budget discussion. So I'll entertain a
Motion to suspend the rules.
Suspend the rule, right.
To change the order of the work session discussions, to put the Lakeland Neighborhood Plan first, and ordinance 25004 second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? So we'll be discussing Lakeland neighborhood plan first. I'll-
Leave early?
They have the final exams.
They need to graduate.
Wish them good luck. Thank you. I also want to recognize our,
Oh, they can take their nameplates, right?
yeah, nobody will be using them. So. No, you can slide it.
Just the slide out thing.
Yeah, I took my
Thank you. Please keep us in touch. I also want to recognize the former District 2 Council member, Maxine Gross, in the room. Thank you for joining. All right. Who is going to present Lakeland neighborhood plans? Our senior planner, Mr. Nunes, please come forward.
Okay, I gotta exit out of this though. But can I exit out of this? Yeah, that's. Save it.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to have it up on. I think Marcellus needs to bring it up.
Let me load it up for a second. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Nunes.
So, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very proud and privileged to be here tonight. I'll be presenting the Lakeland Neighborhood Plan, an initiative focused on restoring equity, honoring heritage, and shaping the future of this historic neighborhood. The purpose of this plan is to restore Lakeland's historic legacy and community identity while addressing the longstanding impacts of displacement and inequity. It offers a strategic vision for community-led equitable redevelopment. This plan was developed over 18 months by the Lakeland community. This plan was developed over 18 months by the City of College Park, activists, and affiliated groups. Through more than 20 public engagements, residents shaped the vision and priorities throughout the process. Last week, the 15-minute Neighborhoods Report was presented, and you'll note that the Lakeland Neighborhood Plan is interconnected. The 15-minute report offers a citywide framework identifying Lakeland's potential for greater accessibility. The Lakeland Plan provides the detailed community-led strategy for that neighborhood-specific redevelopment. So the key takeaway is that both reports highlight the critical need to formally document their consideration for Lakeland's long-term success and equitable future. I want now to highlight how the final draft of this Lakeland Neighborhood Plan is already demonstrating its vision through tangible projects like Pierce Park. So if you'll allow me, I'd like to bring up my director, Ms. Miriam Bader, to talk about a recent achievement that we have where we're putting a lot of our abstract ideas into action.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So what we were thinking with the Pierce Avenue property that the city owns is that we would re-engage with PALS, which were the organization that did that 15-minute city narrative last week. So PALS stands for Partnership for Action, Learning, and Sustainability. That's where the city works with the university and we identify a topic and then they work with us to find a professor. Anyhow, our idea is to engage with a landscape architect professor who we've already met with, and she does trauma-informed design, which is a method of design that centers on healing as a priority and observable outcomes in a finished design. And she also engages in therapeutic landscape, which means to design outdoor space that prioritizes physical and mental well-being of users through a variety of design techniques and theories. So how we are envisioning the Pierce property is that we would engage with PALS and do this landscape architecture class, and that starts in the fall. And what they would look at is maybe adding a vegetable garden there that would serve the community, a meditative garden that would have herbs and spices like rosemary, thyme, mint, and lemon mint, and that would give you sort of aromatherapy, and you could crush it and smell it, and the more senses that are involved, the more impact that this space would have for you. We've already talked to the Restorative Justice Committee about this last Friday, and it was well received. And today we talked to Public Works, and they're going to help set up 2 picnic tables on the property. That was an idea that Maxine Gross had. And tomorrow we're going to be meeting with the professor who did a similar project with her graduate students last spring. And this professor, her name is Dr. Naomi Sachs. She's a landscape architect professor, and she actually authored a book called Therapeutic Landscapes, an evidence-based approach to designing healing gardens and restorative outdoor spaces. So we thought that this would be a really nice marriage, and she thinks maybe about 10 graduate students, 10 to 15 graduate students, and each student would design their own solution for looking at this and creating this therapeutic restorative garden that would give back to the community. So we think this would be a very exciting partnership. And once we get those 10 designs, then we would run that by Restorative Justice Committee for them to look at, and of course the City Council, and we'll seek your input. But we would take this space and then have all different opinions on how to develop it. So, and one of the ideas that they did was this partnership. It's called Unity Farm, or Farm Unity, where they, so instead of that old model of community garden where we split it up and everyone reserves one space, this would be done as a community, and then those vegetables will then be offered back to the community. So that would be a very nice idea. And then also, since the Pierce property lot is right across from the community center, I thought it'd be nice if we could do a partnership so the community center could offer classes on Pierce property, and that would be a demonstration garden. You know, how do we garden? And maybe they could teach children, and the children could set up their own garden too, and then they would see, you know, the excitement of what it is to garden. And of course, you know, elderly, it would be, when you garden, it's all ages. So I think that would be an interesting project. Anyhow, I'll turn it back over to Carlos.
Thank you, Marion. So, what are the key recommendations as we move forward? The plan puts forth a set of core recommendations to guide Lakeland's future. We're emphasizing affordable mixed-use housing to ensure equity and opportunity for residents. Flood-prone areas are being reimagined as green space, tackling environmental concerns and creating room for recreation. Transportation will be multimodal, safe for walking, biking, and connected to regional transit. Lastly, honoring Lakeland's cultural roots through a heritage district and dedicated memorials. So this next slide kind of gives you a visual of how we see the zoning, and in particular how the feedback that we got from Lakelanders for the last year or two. Essentially what you'll see is from left to right, the left being the western part of Lakeland, then the center part in the middle, the eastern part by the railroads. Really, in essence, what we're trying to do here is create a better transition in terms of density from west to east, and really how Lakelanders see it as a better flow in terms of how they envision Lakeland to look like. So zoning is how we translate the vision into reality. It's our most powerful implementation tool. We're proposing upzoning to enable affordable mixed-use housing in appropriate areas. A new cultural heritage district zone can formally recognize and protect the neighborhood's African-American history and identity. Flood-prone land can be rezoned for parks and open space, reinforcing sustainability. At the same time, we're focused on growth that preserves what makes Lakeland special. By popular demand, we made a chart, which you'll see here. We also incorporated into the Lakeland plan recently, and again, that's a credit to everybody that participated in the Lakeland plan even before I got here in my senior planner role. All the feedback has really revised and enhanced the Lakeland plan that you see before you. This chart here is sort of a glossary which shows you what the proposals are. Zoning is not just technical, it's how we shape the future of Lakeland. This plan proposes both upzoning and downzoning in different parts of the neighborhood. Upzoning in this context means increasing development potential in targeted areas. For example, we propose new neighborhood commercial CN zones along Rhode Island Avenue, bringing back small-scale retail that once gave Lakeland its vibrant, community-centered feel. Downzoning, on the other hand, means reducing density in some areas to restore Lakeland's historic character. For example, we recommend converting some high-density apartment zones between Route 1 and Rhode Island Avenue into lower-density housing, like townhomes or single-family homes, to encourage home ownership and neighborhood stability. These zoning changes help scale development to fit Lakeland's needs, promoting equity, walkability, and a strong sense of place. This new zoning overlay proposal in the Lakeland plan celebrates Lakeland's cultural legacy, specifically its African American heritage. So how do we do these things that we're mentioning here? A few ideas are to support the preservation of historic structures like churches, former schools, and homes, promote cultural landmarks such as Embry AME Church, First Baptist Church, and the historic Lakeland High School site, encourage interpretive signage, storytelling, features, oral history, installations, and public art, develop architectural guidelines that echo the scale, style, and character of pre-urban renewal Lakeland, integrate design elements from historic African American architecture in the region, and incentivize community-driven placemaking, plazas, murals, and historic walking tours. So the next steps for us will include council adoption of the plan, launching implementation in partnership with the community, securing funding for top priorities, and ensuring continued leadership from Lakeland residents as we move forward together. This does conclude my presentation, but I want to just take a moment to thank the three members that I've noticed that walked in, which are Ruth, Maxine, and Robert. I want to personally thank them for helping me and being so generous with their time in terms of revising the report, as well as those that could not be here but are here in spirit. They have been tremendous in terms of introducing me to Lakeland and teaching me a lot about Lakeland that I wasn't aware of, even after being a student here. And also thank the staff and the council for everything that they've done up to this point. Thank you.
And I want to thank our staff, Ms. Bader and Mr. Nunes, for your work and leadership and connecting in the Lakeland community for doing this. Thank you. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I also want to recognize Eric Valentine, who's no longer with us, but he wrote the majority of it and
He
worked
does a
on
lot.
it.
Thank you.
He did the meat and potatoes, for sure.
Hopefully he'll be watching us. Thank you. I'm sure there are a couple of questions, and I start with our District 2 Council member first, Dr. Esters.
So I said this earlier to both Ms. Bader and to Mr. Nunez. I appreciate you taking the plan and bringing it to where it is right now. It's been a long time coming for the community, and I know that there's been lots of work, and there will continue to be more work on this. I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate the discussion of synergies. That's the one word I wrote down as you talked about this, as you talked about the park and the 15-minute neighborhood, those synergies of community and what this really can look like moving forward. I think the plan is one mechanism in of many to really bring the neighborhood and the community to where it needs to be. And we've been talking about the importance of this plan, especially as community members have been concerned about development and what that will look like. So when the council adopts the plan, I'm going to say that, when, this will be a mechanism that can be used as planners come into the city, and if they're looking at that community in particular, that will help guide. And it's truly appreciated, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well said. Ms. Whitney?
Yes, basically just to echo what my colleague has said, we've been to many, many, many meetings where residents have given a lot of time and thought to this discussion and really what this plan could mean for the community, and to ensure that it really does match what the community wants. And those often were not easy discussions. And I appreciate all of the community members who just kept coming back and kept having those discussions, even when it was difficult to do so, and continue to work toward what they feel will build a better future, not only for the neighborhood they have, not only for the people who are in the neighborhood now, but who will be there later. And I think it's really going to make a big difference. And I definitely appreciate all the work that staff put into this and their patience with being with the community through that process. So thank you. I did have a question, and I feel like I should know this, but I don't. But where precisely is the flood-prone area at this point that that needs to be rezoned but isn't already open space? Do you happen to know that?
You know what, I'd have to check that on the map, so I can get back to you on that.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Right, Mr. Hugh, and then Ms. Mitchell.
I really enjoyed hearing about and seeing the plans, or understanding the concept for this community space and meditation garden and all that. I was kind of hoping to see a goldfish pond in there. Was that discussed, given the history of goldfish in the Lakeland?
Yeah, we have that in mind about the fish pond, like maybe where it was originally located, which is right off the Rhode Island. Okay, which is right off the Rhode Island Trolley Trail. So maybe there, but not on this Pierce property. It wouldn't work right there. Yeah. We were also talking about Sentinel Swamp and maybe stocking that with fish, but then we found that it goes dry, so we always need water there to make it work.
Nice.
Oh, we also want to thank the planning studio.
Certainly, thank you. Thanks for recognizing that. Ms. Mitchell and then Mr. Hernandez. And then Mr.
I just want to say, I don't know, I feel somewhat emotional being on this council for all this time, and we have been talking about this for so long. And to sit here tonight to see this, it's just, it warms my heart immensely. To think about those who have lived there for so long, to know that, I guess timing is everything, that now we are going to move forward with something that's going to be inclusive of the whole Lakeland community. So thank you again so very, very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez.
I think my colleague, Mr.
It's okay.
Okay.
Please
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
Mr. Hernandez. I had a couple of questions and then wanted to make a few comments of my own. First, when I read through the very thorough report, I was surprised, not negatively so, but surprised to see the proposal of downsizing or downzoning from high density to low density as it approaches the neighborhood. And it makes a lot of sense to me from my admittedly novice planning perspective to have a much better transition, because currently it feels like big house, right? And with some random fields kind of strewn in between. And I think there could be a lot more thought, and I think this report envisions a lot more thought being put into what that looks like that makes more sense in the context of the surrounding community, but is also adaptive to the desires of the community as well. But I'm wondering about the economics of that. Like, how does that work? I feel like we've had a lot of conversations about upzoning, and the conventional wisdom is that, especially in transit accessible zones, like, you should look for high density anywhere and everywhere you can. So I'm wondering how practically we would implement that. I am in favor of it, especially since the Lakeland community is in favor of it. But I'm wondering, if you have any thoughts about sort of strategically how to have that discussion. I would imagine that the owners of that land would not look kindly on us trying to push to downzone a parcel.
Right, so this is a vision. This is that we don't have zoning authority. That's at Park and Planning. So all we can do is use this to inform our decisions. So let's say they wanted to put a high-density student apartment complex close to where the single family is, which now allows it. At least we can inform the opinion that says, no, we want this as missing middle housing. We want this a lower density to transition to the single family. And that's, that's all we can do. But at least as the city, we can express that and then back it up with the plan that it's in the Lakeland plan, that this be a transition zone.
And forgive me, it's not all, we also have a county lobbyist too. And, this is something that my colleagues and I stand behind, and I think it will be. That could be a potential advocacy opportunity for us, but I still wonder about the economics of that, because I think that the owners of the parcel would see that as an unlawful taking, probably, if we were to just downzone it without compensation, but I don't know what the law there would permit and not permit. And I'm guessing neither do you, which is fine. It's a question for another day, perhaps.
Typically, if you went from industrial to single family, something more significant. But if you're just talking about reducing the height, it doesn't
Maybe it's not a big
raise
deal.
to that level.
Okay,
it's
great.
still residential to residential. So, in fact, you'll be seeing a North College Park plan coming your way, and they're talking about reducing height too. So.
Okay, thank you. That's informative. The other thing that I wanted to ask about was the inclusion of accessory dwelling units in the plan. I know that there is state legislation that will require local municipalities to develop local ordinances that are adaptive to ADUs, at least thematically, and I think we'll probably have to have a lot of discussions about how that plays out. But are there any beyond what was described in the report of being a strategy for helping elders and people, longtime homeowners, sort of stay in their homes by having, I would gather, sort of either a second source of income or perhaps a smaller space that they could move into and then rent out other space. Are there any particularities that we need to bear in mind with regards to Lakeland as that discussion idea to use proceeds over the course of the next period of time?
So ADU for College Park, there's people that are in favor and there are people that aren't in favor of it. So we really need to look at it because we want to make sure it's not abused. Right now you can put 5 unrelated in a house, and then would there be 5 unrelated in the ADUs? And then you have 10. You know, so we need to look at that. But the age-friendly task force is going to be giving you a presentation next week. And they've come up with I think, something that's going to be really great. It will help people that have moved out of their homes, or not moved out of their homes, but empty nesters. And so the idea is, and you'll hear more next week, that if you live in a single family home, right, and your kids have moved out and you want to rent a bedroom, you could rent a bedroom to a student, and then you would get income that way. And maybe that makes more sense for College Park. They'll explain the model in more detail. But also what's really cool about it is it would be providing affordable housing to the students. And then if the students decide they can choose to provide more services to the resident, like let's say they would give, they'd be willing to drive them to their doctor's appointments, or maybe they'd be willing to cook meals for them or go shopping for them or whatever, then that would reduce their rent also. So if our objective is to provide more affordable housing and also provide income for the homeowner, this might be a better approach. But you're right, there is legislation in the state that requires us to adopt an ADU ordinance, so we're going to have to navigate that.
Thank you. And then a quick note, and that is I appreciate and was really energized by the concept of commercial, sort of what you might call kind of small-scale commercial mixed use along Rhode Island Avenue, and it's an older development pattern that certainly was present in Lakeland and was also present in Old Town, and I think it's a really interesting idea that I'd love to think about a little bit more to include Old Town as well as Lakeland. I think it's a great idea for both communities potentially, and then I just wanted, by way of epilogue, just to convey my appreciation for the Lakeland community and for staff for engaging as energetically and as deeply, and the others who were involved in the project for engaging as energetically and deeply on this work as obviously has been the case. I know that, as Winston Churchill once said, this is not the beginning of the end, this is the end of the beginning. Like this sets the framework from which we can proceed. I see it as us setting the framework from which we can proceed with a series of advocacies and additional strategic next steps. It's not the end point by any stretch of the imagination. There's years of work still to go ahead here, but I'm so excited by this. And one of the things that I'm most excited about, or find the most, that I'm the most excited about, is how fundamentally hopeful it is. I feel like we've moved from a place where we all, and I think many of us, were sort of like, boy, I don't know what to do about Lakeland. Like, it's a terrible thing that's happened in the Lakeland, but boy, I just don't know what to do. To a place where there is, something that seems to be resembling a pretty close to a consensus around a vision that doesn't imagine Lakeland as it was in 1976. It imagines Lakeland as it is, or as it will be in 2076. And that is so cool. It envisions new residents, it envisions new forms of development, it envisions a new community orientation, it imagines a community. And it's a fundamentally hopeful vision. And I'm so grateful and so proud of the work. So well done.
Thank you so much.
Well said. Thank you. Very good comments. Mr. Hernandez.
Well, my comment really quickly, or I guess first let me ask a question. So there's a property we recently acquiesced, purchased in the Lakeland neighborhood. Do we have like a purpose that we can thread that with this new strategy? That's, okay, that's the Pierce, I didn't know that we had named it, sorry. Oh, the street, right, okay, got it. Fantastic, my bad.
It's hard to reference.
It really is. No, okay,
So on Pierce Avenue, but across from the community center.
right, okay, great. And then I just kind of want to recognize the hard work that that everyone has put into this particular project, but specifically our District 2 council members who've worked tremendously hard.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership. I appreciate that. Dr. Estes, do you have a second bite?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and encourage members of the community who are here to say a few words about the plan and their thoughts.
Second.
Certainly. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed and abstention? That is so timely. Yeah. Ms. Gross, please recognize yourself.
Good evening.
For the
I'm
record.
Maxine Gross, a resident of the Lakeland community. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, and members of council for the opportunity to speak to you this evening, and also for the support that you've given Lakeland in this long, tedious process of developing a neighborhood plan. I know the concept is a relatively new one. It is my hope that once the plan is accepted by you as the City of College Park, that you move forward to request the same action be taken on a county basis. I know that that is not something that is traditionally done, but I think it's something definitely worth trying. I'd also like to take an opportunity to thank the folks over at the University of Maryland and their PALS program. There were countless numbers of classes and community meetings that took place through their process with the planning studios for 2 years running that informed this whole process largely. The students there were able to imagine things that we candidly had never even began to consider. Some of those things are included in the plan. I know that the question did arise about how this adoption of a plan aligns with the restorative justice process that's still underway for the community of Lakeland. And I will just attempt to answer that by saying, you know, we're a community that's being involved with a process, with considerations, with conversations, with looking at plans, making concepts, and dreaming. And that's not something that is limited to one particular project. It is a process that's been going on for a period of time. And so just as the planning studio and the PALS project with this whole has helped the plan to evolve, this plan will help the restorative justice process evolve, and the restorative justice process help the plan to evolve. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for your support, and I encourage you to continue to support us as we continue to work to make Lakeland a place for folks to live and prosper in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Robert? Mr. Thurston, please come forward. Welcome.
Thank you.
For the record, please state your name.
Robert Thurston, a resident of Lakeland Community. I just wanted to reiterate what's already been said. Thank you for your time, your effort, both council and staff. Mr. Young, for all those hours that you gave up for the Lakeland plan. I know was something that was a hard decision, but I hope it will be fruitful in the end. As was mentioned before, he's not here, but Mr. Valentine was very instrumental in getting this started. And to be honest with you, once he left, we were kind of wondering what was going to happen, but you had a very good hire here in bringing in Mr. Nunez, who jumped right in and made it complete. As was said before, I'm not going to quote Mr. Churchill, but I'll quote Mr. Riggs that this is this is
You're
the
famous.
beginning, not the end, and that we hope that this will be a process that not only will support the community of Lakeland, but hopefully it'll be a benchmark for the rest of the city, that there will be things that can be used forthcoming for the rest of the city as well. We are very happy that we now have this front-facing document that as development comes along, we can now effectively demonstrate what our goal and future is for Lakeland. And I think it's one that will not only be good for Lakeland, but be good for the city as well. So thank you to everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Please come forward. Anybody else? Please state your name for the record.
Hi, Mayor and Council. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick DeSpirito, and I'm the incoming student liaison to the Council. So it's a pleasure to meet all of you, and for everyone else, hope to work with you closely on a lot of these initiatives. In particular, I wanted to focus on the aspect you talked about with the age-friendly task force, promoting opportunities for students to have more affordable renting opportunities when housing near the school. This is particularly important, especially as we all know with the fallout of Parkside and College Park Towers, where a lot of students reside. So I just wanted to commend the council and council staff for considering this in the Lakeside neighborhood plan as something to consider, especially going forward to promote more affordable housing options for students. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Saying none, Ruth. Anybody else on the online? Saying none. Let's come back. Any other further comments? Saying none. Thank you again so much for your hard work, and please keep us posted as we move forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a journey. Thank you. All right, now we go to the budget item, and thank you, staff. Thank you, Mr. Fields, for patiently waiting, and thank you for your hard work and putting together the budget worksheet for consideration tonight.
Mayor, if I could, real quick.
Yeah.
The Lakeland plan will show up on the agenda next week for adoption. We're planning to put it on the consent agenda, and if there's any, I don't think there's going to be any issues with that, but please let me know if there is.
Certainly there shouldn't be. Thank you.
We ready?
Yeah, we are ready to go.
Good evening. I just have a couple minutes or less. The spreadsheet that's displayed there, you have a hard copy. It's sent out later this afternoon after discussion with city manager and city attorney to hopefully help guide your discussion about these budget amendments. What we're looking for tonight is consensus on these items, if you want those included in the final proposed budget, which I'll put together after tonight for next week's meeting for you to hopefully vote on for approval. Again, the way these are put together, I put it in the email if you had a chance to look at it, but we had proposals from 3 council members. The first 4 items up there are all same dollar amount, same proposals. I guess I should say the first one there is my proposal. It's not negotiable. I usually don't say that, but this was an item that City Council approved just prior to the budget being presented at the work session, and so we need to increase that $22,000 to provide for all electric equipment, mowing. Again, the other 3 items, all 3 council members proposed the same lines, same amounts. The next little section there, again, is same amounts, or I'm sorry, same line items. There's differing amounts from 0, and I kind of put a range there in that second column to kind of see where they are. The next is new line items. Councilmember Ranker proposed 2, and then Mayor Kabir, I apologize at the 11th hour this afternoon, I added
so sorry.
yours, and again, just to keep it, this spreadsheet is hard enough to see, but included your proposal there for federal workers. What happened to the last 2 items under, I don't know what's happening there. Those are either reducing, hang on if you can bear with me for just a minute. I'm not going to be able to get it that quickly. There, either reducing positions that were in the proposed budget to reduce the economic development coordinator to a half year, and then also to eliminate the deputy city manager position that was included. Those were in 2 proposals, so we need consensus on those as well. Would like to get, if council wishes to have those removed or reduced. And then at the bottom, if, with your permission, if y'all focus on the top part and get what you want to have done, staff can balance the budget. We have, with Councilmember Ranker's suggestion from a couple of weeks ago from the VO ride, I had discussions with Mr. Nunez about that contract, and after checking and looking at, we feel comfortable increasing that budget line item for 26 by 25,000. And then also, I think I mentioned at the Saturday work session, personal property taxes were looking good. And after rechecking those last week, I feel comfortable increasing that by $100,000. So we've got 125,000 additional funding, and it seemed like there was consensus with the 3 council members recommending to reappropriate the Meals on Wheels money that was in the 25 budget, to reappropriate that to 2026 to be used to fund. Again, I think I mentioned that is still technically a use of fund balance, but again, so if y'all can focus on the top part and you allow us staff to get the budget balanced, we can do that. And then the city manager wanted to say a few things before turned over to y'all for discussion.
Certainly.
I just wanted to, I'll be very brief. I wanted to highlight a couple of things. One, I think it would be helpful if you concentrate on what the preferences are to be added into the budget. Let us worry about how it balances out and present the final balanced budget to you all. That's really more of an accounting thing. Anyways, we don't do it very well from here, so it is something that Gary and his staff do very well. I did want to highlight one thing in particular. There have been a number of residents that have asked about the 25% reserve amount, and why is that necessary? And it is really because of the bond rating agencies. That is the minimum amount in which they want to see for when we go out and issue bonds. We don't issue a lot of bonds, but actually, in the near future, we may need to utilize that. And so to have additional reserves above that 25% is very important for the economic climate that we're in, as well as potentially going out for bond issuance in the future. I'm thinking of conversion of LED lights throughout the city, those kind of larger expenses that we have. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And I want to thank again our staff, our city attorney, for their guidance, and this really helps our life easy, how we conduct the business. Is there any question before we get into line by line items? Mr. Rigg.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, it's not a question, it's a suggestion about how to proceed. I was wondering, rather than going line by line, I'm wondering if it might make sense to try to think about them as sort of packages with the council member who sponsored each of the recommendations, sort of walking us through them and what their thinking might be, just so that we're all on the same page, and the residents who are listening in from home are on the same page about what's being included, what's not being included in each of the proposals. And I would say, suggest to my colleagues that we not spend a lot of time doing this, but it'd be nice to hear kind of what rationale is, because I think, then we could get a sense about which, if any of the packages, looks the most like the one that we like the most. If our name is not Hernandez, Ranker, or Whitney, or even if our name is Hernandez, because he has 4, we'd at least have a sense of kind of, where some of us were leaning, and then we could iterate from there. I think that might be a more efficient use of time than truly going line by line, but I defer to you, sir.
Yeah, I wish I could do that. The issue is, some of the items I see consensus already. For example, first block aligned. So we could probably package them together and to save time. I agree with you. But rest of them, I see some. Not everyone is consensus. Not everyone having consensus. So those items probably can go line by line, and we can do pretty quickly. As in the earlier email, you probably saying we'll not be doing a formal votes tonight. We'll just show of hands. So things will be pretty quick, just to see how things go. Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. I appreciate your thought process of going line by line, but I just want not clarification, for the interest of time, because there's some items that we do need to deliberate on,
Yeah.
whereas it looked like the first block, it looked like there is consensus to me across, and maybe I'm wrong.
No.
There's more of a consensus, and we can finalize that and move to the middle block where there's more discussion. And to acquiesce to my
Okay.
colleague, Councilmember Rigg, that's when each person can give their 31-minute feedback on which one they think is the best proposal.
I agree.
Forward.
I agree. So let's do this. I think let's take the first block, and then we can go line by line from the second block. And as you said, for the sake of discussion, we'll probably have some of us present it, kind of that councilmember will be serving as an advocate for that item, and then we can have the discussion, right? And then we'll have show of hands, and we'll go from there. Sounds good?
Clarify that again, because you just lost me.
I think I said not very different what you suggested. So if the items that we do not have consensus on the Excel sheet, we'll go line by line, but we'll have someone present it on those items one at a time, and then we'll have a discussion on that item, and then we'll have show of hands. Is that clear?
We'll follow your lead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so how about we use the first block, because it looks like there is a consensus. All the first 4 items, I see the dollar figures are the same. Does it need any discussion, that block?
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
May I ask that we consider Councilmember Rigg's suggestion? And the reason why I ask that is because there are several people, there are 3 people who made proposals, and we haven't heard from everybody. So I think everyone on council hasn't given input. These are proposals that are being put forth, and if everybody can just give an overview, the individuals who put them forth, of their intention, and then we can go line by line regarding those things for which there isn't consensus. I think that could be helpful, because I think doing it the other way makes an assumption that because this is here, we all are in agreement.
Yeah, so let's do this as a compromise. How about the first block, someone either from Councilor Hernandez or Mr. Ranker or Ms. Whitney, you present it and hear from you why you come up with those proposals, the 4 line items together.
I'll just kind of thread everybody's input here, because I recognize Councilmember Esther's approach. So I came into the budget like fully thinking, how do I help input everyone's voices? I think last year it was a lot of feelings up on the dais and at the work session, and I really wanted to bring everybody like input on this. The one thing I can recognize that I've heard from my colleagues that isn't in the various COAs that are here is a desire not to spend any fund balance. And I want to recognize that there are some council members who suggested that. I took that into consideration when looking at the various options that I proposed. I did propose 4 different courses of action, not because I love working on spreadsheets. In fact, I was learning, but mostly because I wanted to thread the needle of the uncertain times that we're in, while also trying to do what's right for the various priorities that we've all mentioned on council. So to balance this back out to what Mayor Kabir had requested, in terms of this first block, obviously, as Director Field said, the first item is non-negotiable, and he says that jokingly, but it's really because we already agreed to it. But the other 3 items, they may seem like small dollar items, but I think we're gonna get a large bang for our buck. This is kind of, obviously this is personal, but a lot of the other council members have also spoken about the Spanish-speaking community, and how are we going to address some of those concerns that have been raised to us. I haven't really talked about it from the dais that much, but there are many residents in our neighborhood who don't necessarily feel included in the process, not because they don't want to, but because they just feel like they can't. There's so many different obstacles, from basic website literacy. I mean, I try to tell them I can't navigate our website either. But also just this overwhelming like space of just not understanding or trusting government. I think bringing them into the fold with some of these programs that are more tailored to Spanish-speaking students, Spanish-speaking residents is super helpful. I will say that I know that we got our first Spanish-speaking comments in. We got to work on some of the emails. I'll have conversations because their text was in the entire subject. But it is to demonstrate that they're supporting our efforts here on the dais. And then with regards to Amplified Tutoring, there was and you all may have seen an email come in from Principal Johnson at Hollywood. They don't receive that large of a discretionary budget for each school, but they had just hoped that we could bridge I think it was a small gap in funding for what was charged for that particular program.
Thank you. Any further discussion or question on these 4 items only? I think pretty clear, and Mr. Fields will award you with the contract. Thank you. So if you could please, by show of hands, if you agree with it, that was suggested.
I think that's
not Councilman Rankin, that's Councilman Whitson.
On these 4 items, if you want to add to the budget. Comment?
I think the issue we have with showing hands right now is there are only 3 out of the 8 council members who have said they are in favor of this, and some council members are not in favor of adding any money to the budget. From what some council members, I believe, are in favor of going forward with the budget as presented by the city manager. So I think, I don't know, I think it's perhaps premature to have them vote yea or nay on each one of these.
Okay.
You don't think so?
I thought everyone is in agreement on these 4 items, or not so. Okay, I'll take your suggestion then, if that is okay. So let's go one at a time from these 4 items. Electric mowing contract increase. You show your hand if you're in support. I don't have a vote, by the way. I think we are all good, Mr. Field. Thank you, congratulations. Okay, let's go to the second one, bilingual residence guide.
Mr. Mayor, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm challenged by the process right now, because again, this makes assumptions about people beyond the three who have put forth these proposals. I think it would be better for us to listen to the proposals and understand the intent behind the proposals before we start voting, because some of us have different feelings about the budget, and I think it is unfair to ask us to vote on things without having
discussion?
everyone, right, exactly.
Okay, I try to save time, that's why I kind of bypassed the discussion on those items. But it has been presented, and Mr. Hernandez already made his case on the second item. But let's have the discussion on these items, on the second item.
So I'm not sure if I'm presenting this clearly, and maybe others can help me in doing this. I think the challenge for me is that if we're going to look at these proposals, allow the individuals to talk about their proposals overall, and then allow for discussion, and then allow for vote, because people may feel differently about these proposals. And if we go forth and ask for a vote, then what you're assuming is that everyone else who hasn't put forth a proposal agrees with this.
No, I don't assume that. That's the reason I'm entertaining discussion now on the second item.
But as opposed to presenting it as a package, as Mr. Rigg suggested previously, it puts those of us in a position who feel differently to have to sit here and make a vote for something we may not want to vote for.
But we won't be able to have a consensus on individual items. We can have comments. Each council member can have comments on individual course of actions.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I agree with Councilmember Esther, and part of it is too, having line by line votes. People might want to consider the overall numbers and decide, is that too much? Is it too little? So, what I'm hearing and what I'm hoping for is maybe Mr. Hernandez can just take whichever one of his 1, 2, 3, or 4 he wants to kind of make his case about why he included these. And then I'll mention why for COA 5, why I mentioned these things. And then Councilmember Whitney will mention why she included her things.
We can have comments, but in the end, we need to come to a decision.
Right, and I think that will help. I think that's what everybody is saying, is that will help them, because it's not just about a line item, it's also about the vision of the whole and how that fits in. So I think
that's fine. We can. I thought that will probably take more time. Individual course of actions could be presented.
I can be brief.
Same.
Individual course of actions could be presented by Councilor Hernandez. He has 4. Councilmember Ranker has 1, and Councilmember Whitney has 1. And after that, we need to come to a consensus. At that point, we can vote line by line. Is that your suggesting?
Well, one more suggestion, sorry. There may also be an appetite for a status quo budget, for a no changes budget, and if there's a council member who wishes to make that advocacy, I think we should create space for that as well. Because what we're seeing here are the proposed revisions. And I heard in our prior work session that there was at least 1, possibly 2 or 3 council members who are interested in a no change budget. And I think as somebody who's truly undecided, I'd love to hear all perspectives.
Do you want to have that? I wouldn't say vote, but show of hands first.
I don't care what it happens. I kind of think we should stand. My suggestion is to stand them up and knock them down and say, Mr. Hernandez, make your case. Mr. Ranker, make your case. Ms. Whitney, make your case. Status quo, whoever that might be, make your case, and then we kind of see where people lean.
Okay, let's do this then. Mr. Hernandez, make your case for 4 items you presented, COA 1, 2, 4.
Okay, so as I said, I took a broad approach because I didn't know necessarily where folks wanted to have funds, and I was really trying to capture the council's comments during the meeting. I think I initially pitched the use for sourcing, and I know we're not going to get into it, is Meals on Wheels, because it was just such a large item that we were originally going to spend and we all talked about on council. And unfortunately, we weren't going to do that for other reasons. I focused my 4 COAs in the thread of securing pedestrian walkability options, strengthening economic development, reinforcing public safety, enhancing our investments into bilingual support, and championing for Hollywood Elementary School, who happens to be a school in District 1, but serves students all over. What you'll see here, and I know that there are some challenges, but you'll see some differences across the four COAs, and that's in the amount of funds used for those particular programs. It's not because I think that they're less important, but mostly because I think that, I was trying to be judicious about how much money was spent. Specifically, you'll see the changes in increases to the sidewalks, mostly because I know that it costs about $100,000 to design a sidewalk. The execution is a large CIP fund. But I do want to take a special note on the business attraction and retention, and just the economic development overall. There's two different programs that I think we're going to be severely underfunding as proposed in comparison to the past 2 years for economic development. Fully understanding that we don't have ARPA this year, but I think that there are still opportunities for economic development across the city, especially as we have these new buildings coming online. In terms of public safety, I know that we have a public safety manager, but what we've heard consistently across the residents that reach out to us is their sense of public safety not necessarily being covered. I recognize that that's not a feeling that's shared across the council, but definitely in the Northern College Park area where the University of Maryland Police do not necessarily have any jurisdiction, it is something that 0.5 day or night contract police officer could help increase that safety awareness. Overall, if I was to just break it down, I think that we can find some sort of consensus across the different courses of action in any further discussion.
Thank you. So you're done with course of action 1 to 4? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like mine's just, yeah, it's more philosophical, and I'm not gonna go down every course of action.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Ranker, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think overall, I thought these were great suggestions by Councilmember Hernandez. So overall, I wanted to focus on having resources to respond to potential economic challenges some that we know we will face and some that we're not sure yet that we might face. So especially having that emergency assistance grant, also the city home ownership grants, just even in my neighborhood, seeing so many more houses for sale in the last 2 months than they have been in the last 2 years, making sure that we can offer some more home ownership grants to keep as many places owner occupied as possible. I generally want to have more funds for emergency assistance. I don't want to necessarily make it specific to federal employees. I know that federal employees are certainly many who are hurting, but I also don't want to make it exclusive to federal employees. In terms of eliminating the deputy city manager position as a half-a-year position, I think that not having it in the budget now, but having the flexibility once our economic picture becomes more clear, would also be beneficial. I've heard concerns from residents about an additional $200,000+ a year salary. If that's the best approach right now, especially with this economic climate. And then in terms of including small business grants for daycare, in a conversation with Mr. Williams, and knowing from residents about the issues with daycare and even some closing, for instance, at the FDA building, that is a major need. And so wanting some essentially business attraction and retention grants specifically for home daycare businesses that might either be starting or that might already exist, that then can help prioritize College Park residents.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney.
Thank you. Just from the previous discussion and from just discussions individually I've had with various council members, I got the sense that a lot, that some council members really were concerned about spending any more than what was already proposed in the current budget by the city manager. But I also was inspired by the action and the proposals that Councilmember Hernandez made, and also that Councilmember Ranker made. And I think my idea was to try to strike a balance between the fiscal conservatism of some of my peers, really looking at what we know to be turbulent waters ahead, but also recognizing that we do have some funds available to really focus on and highlight council priorities, but maybe being a little bit more careful with what we put forward initially. And then as we move forward in the year, there is always the opportunity to make amendments. When we know more where we stand, there's supposed to be a special legislative session in September. There may be great budgetary impacts from that. We don't know what those are yet. It might be wise to wait until that point to fund things like, say, staff bonuses, which I'm very much in favor of. But typically, in the private sector, bonuses are handed out when the company is doing well and when there's money to be spent, and they're not a given. And so we did just, or at least the proposal here is to extend the benefits of the labor union contract to all city employees. That is a significant increase to salaries for city employees. So we are valuing our employees and trying to bring them up to the pay level that we want them to be at to keep them satisfied working for the city. We can look later at what our situation is and decide if the funds are there to provide a bonus. Generally speaking, I am not in favor of starting any new programs through the budget process. We have done that before, and I like to feel like at least I personally learned from my mistakes. I think that was very confusing for residents, even if it was a good idea. I just think it is not the way to go, in my opinion. I think we do it, there's a work session, and council votes on it, and then you put forward, a resolution to create a program, and then you budget for it the next time around. That's just the way I see that. I increased the emergency assistance grants because I too do not believe, I believe that federal, I've talked to the city manager, we can support federal employees and we can support people from non-governmental organizations, people from nonprofits, who are also, whose budgets are being decimated by the cuts at the federal level, many of whom are, people are losing their jobs. Basically, we can help all of those people and federal employees by increasing our emergency assistance grants, and possibly as we go forward, council may need to tweak the qualifications for receiving those grants, but I believe that's something we can do after the fact, and we can just put more money into that program in order to support it. Basically, my proposal was about half dollar amount, half of what the other increases put forward. And that was really to kind of thread a needle between doing a little bit more toward our priorities, but not going too far at this point until we really know where we stand financially.
Thank you. Well said. All right. Now everybody made their cases. Before I go,
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, and then we have another.
Do you have another?
Yes, I do. So I would like to make the case for not making any changes to the budget that was presented by our city manager. And the reasons are for me the fact that what we have learned over the course of this past year is that we were going to be hit with a very tight budget, as was explained. And this was before we understood some of the challenges that we were going to face as a municipality. We are going to have a special budgetary session at the state level. We don't know the impacts of that. We already know of issues related to lighting from Petco that will be felt by municipalities, and there may be other things that are coming our way that we don't see yet. There is great concern that I have about spending money without having a true understanding of where we are fiscally, and I want to see what happens during this special session of the state on budget, because I believe we may be hit harder than we anticipate right now. I must thank all of my colleagues for putting forth their proposals and thinking about residents and ways in which to help. What concerns me is we may not have set aside enough to help, and we may not have the money to truly help a number of people. So how do we make those decisions, and how do we feel comfortable in our spending? So thank you for allowing me to have that
Thank you.
opportunity.
I was actually going to ask if we could decide what you are proposing, meaning no changes to city manager's report, city manager's proposed budget. Can I make that decision now? Mayor Pro Tem, do you have another
No,
comments?
I want to, I thank my colleague from District 2, Dr. Estes, making this statement about no changes to the budget, because I was the one that was already at the table discussing that. I too thank all of my colleagues for their leadership and their time, because it is an investment and the willingness to talk to others about their thought process. If it comes down to making a decision, I'm going to have to be very conservative in my thought process. I will just say I won't wear my other hat in the day job. At the county level, it's not a pretty sight. And I'm concerned about how that will affect us as well in the coming months to come, especially after the summer. So I'm still listening, but I'm going to be very conservative in my thought process.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to talk as a whole before we go into the decision making? Mr. Hill.
Yeah, I'd like to just state that I'm more on the conservative side, like the lead that my colleague here, Councilmember Estes, mentioned, and like Councilmember Mitchell has mentioned. There's a lot of uncertainty ahead of us, and I as much as I appreciate some of those proposed line items, additional fundings, I just don't have the same certainty of funding all of these items. So I'm also in the conservative group.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Maggie?
I guess I'll say, have a word. I tend to be fiscally conservative, so for me, I feel that some of the spending that we're planning to do might need to be put on hold. I want to also thank all of my colleagues for their input, but as I've stated in the past, for me, cutting and then spending is not the way that I would proceed with the budget. If we're going to be more conservative, I think we should cut and wait. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. So it looks like you're going to make some changes, but which is not quite the same as making no change, obviously. Can we, by show of hands, if there is no other discussions on the proposal about not making any changes to city manager's proposed budget, can we do that by show of hands? So if you do not, it is not a motion. So the way we'll be doing there will not be.
I just want to, may I I just
Yeah.
interrupt just to make sure everyone knows. This is just to get consensus on what, if any, amendments would be coming forth next week. It is not a formal vote. It's just a show of consensus, so we know what would be put forth next week for formal action.
Yeah, we're doing the straw polls by show of hands, basically. Show of hands. No motion, no second, nothing. Yeah.
So, if we could, so would it be, okay if Mr. Fields told us, like we know for sure that the ones that are 15,000, 10,000, 5,000 at the very beginning, those are new. But I know that we do have some things in the CIP and in, like, if you could tell us what's already in there, because I forgot to bring my budget with me. So if that would be okay. You can't do that? Okay, that's fine.
Well, I'm not sure what, you're
Okay.
wanting to know what's in the CIP?
Okay, so for example, now what do we have in the budget for the business attraction retention? Currently, yeah.
150,000.
And I
Okay.
apologize, I did not bring my budget book either.
Okay, so,
Thirty story on the head.
this thing that says range, that's what we have in the current budget?
No, that's just the range of
Oh,
these proposals.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make things more difficult.
Page 39.
Yeah.
The budget is, Ms. Mackey.
Or no, sorry.
Ms. Mackey, there is a page 39 if you take a look.
So for business facade and improvement grants, there's 150. For business retention and assistance, there is 150. The employee bonus, that is an item that is not currently in the budget. Again, there is contract, I believe the contract police officers, there's now 2.5. FTEs for contract police, yes. And this would add another half to make it 3. In emergency assistance grants, there's 75,000 currently in the proposed budget.
Okay.
And on the first 3 items, the bilingual residence guide, the Hispanic parents group, and that amplified tutoring, I think there may be a small piece, and of some funding there. I think this was a request for additional, and I don't know that the budget states how much is bilingual or Hispanic related. I could be wrong on that. I don't know if Councilmember Hernandez has a better handle on that.
On the bilingual residence guide, during the meeting, during the work session, the budget work session, we asked Director Quinones what it would cost to print out some of the residence guides in Spanish, and she threw out the figure of 15,000.
Okay.
All right.
The city homeownership grant currently has 75,000 in it.
Yes. And I apologize, I originally called those unique line items, that they were different, and I wasn't thinking, I didn't like the word unique, so change it to new, but the home ownership grant is not new.
Okay.
Again, that's in the planning and community development budget on page 81.
So, Mr. Ranker, you were asking for $50,000 additional money on top of 35,000. All right. So, Ms. Mackey, is that all? Yeah.
No,
Mr.
that
Ray.
helps, thank you.
I have a couple questions for staff, if now would be an appropriate
Sure.
time. All right. So, and I'll try to make them quick. Mr. Young or Mr. Fields, a sidewalk CIP is $100,000. Is that I recall that $100,000 is roughly the price of planning another sidewalk. It would be the net cost of planning phase for one other sidewalk project in that CIP. Is that right?
It's $100,000 would be only get us design and engineering work. It doesn't get us the
I
actual
understood. That's what I thought. Thank you. And then a question about the $400,000. I'm still a little bit hazy on.
You mean the Meals on Wheels?
On the Meals on Wheels. How a $400,000 FY25 non-expended line item turns into money that we can spend in FY26, and how, I mean, that is, to me, that looks like we put it in the fund balance, then we pull a commensurate amount out of the fund balance, and it's really kind of illusory in a way, but wanted to know kind of whether that was your impression, and also, like, what, if any, amount would you recommend we consider drawing down from the fund balance this year, given everything? Or is that, or are you going to say what my boss put in his budget?
Well, let me add the first part of the question on the 400,000. Any unexpended funds at the end of the year would revert back to fund balance. So that's why I've said on more than one occasion, you're in essence taking it from fund balance. The same way last year, when we were doing the budget amendment for FY25, we're going to take whatever the number was, $1.5 million, $2.5 million of FY24 surplus and rebudget that. Again, that's, you can say you're identifying it, there's the source, but it goes into fund balance and turns into a reduction of the fund balance. So when you rebudget it in the following year, assuming it's spent.
Is that clear?
So basically, how I see it is you're replacing a revenue for an expense on the other side.
Yeah, it is. It is because it's not spent. We're not budgeted, so it is on the revenue side.
And can't take that as the city manager here, but it is in essence, you were planning to spend the 400,000 in FY25, so that would have reduced fund balance in 25. So it's a net in that way of looking at it. Again, kind of playing devil's advocate, you get to the same point by rebudgeting, but again, it is taking it from fund balance.
All right. Any other general questions, Mr. Hernandez?
Just a general question. Director Fields, how much was in the fund balance for FY25?
What was the total fund balance?
What was the total
what's
fund
the amount
balance?
of appropriated fund balance?
Okay. What percentage were we at last year? And what is that in terms of value?
At FY24, we were just shy of just shy of 40%. We were at 39.7%. With FY25.
Which was how much, sir?
Again, if you're trying to interpret your question, use the FY25 amended budget proposed or was using almost $2.4 million of fund balance, which had that occurred, we would have been down to just shy of 30%, 29.7%. And if you do have your budget, I'm looking at page 24 of the budget document. However, as I've mentioned, we are having a much better year in FY 2025, and right now we're projecting, rather than needing $2.379 million of fund balance to balance, we'll only need $731,000 of fund balance. That's in the estimated total under the FY. There's two columns for FY 25. So we're, in essence, we're $1.5 million to the good, if you will, compared to where we were looking last October when we made this budget amendment. So if we use only the $731,000 as projected, we would be at 36%.
We'd be at 36%.
At the end of this fiscal year, again, FY 26, we're proposing a balanced budget, no use of fund balance right now, we would still be at 36%.
Okay, and that's what I think should be clear with regards to the amount of funding that we're talking about, to help cover some of these programs, because it's not an extraordinary amount. We didn't go in there and try to chunk out the 36%. And just to be clear, the balanced budget that we have currently, we're not raising the taxes, right?
Correct.
But we did raise the taxes last year.
Correct.
All right, so I'm just saying that our budget's gonna be bigger, so the percentage is gonna have to be bigger, right? Like our total amount will be larger.
The percentage of fund balance is based on the subsequent year's expenditures. So since we don't, for the 26 budget column, we don't have a 27 to do a true calculation of it. So it's just based on 26 expenditures.
I see.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that helps.
So 25 estimated is based on, and it's, again, to clarify, it's total expenditures, which is 25.48 million. It's not expenditures, contingency, and transfers. The charter says expenditures.
I understand.
Okay.
It just doesn't strengthen my argument as much as I want it to. My other question for staff is actually for Director Williams. There's two programs that we're talking about with regards to economic development, and before whatever happens next, is there a preferred program that you would like to see an increase in funding? Would that be the business attraction and retention or business facade and improvement? Like if you had to choose, or would you just split the baby and then just keep it half and half?
Mr. Young, can I?
I was going to ask Mr. Williams, but it really is council's discretion, really. If you look at it, there's two ways you can look at it. For business facade program services a lot more businesses and business owners that are eligible for that. Business retention, you're really talking about trying to retain maybe a larger business within the city, so very few opportunities that might come about. I understand the last couple of years we've been in a very different situation than we are currently. For the business retention, we do get a lot of people applying who are the actual property owner for projects, but they don't qualify based on the eligibility criteria that the council passed.
All right, thank you. That's all we have. Ms. Whitney.
Oh, sorry. The one concern I have is I think based on what I heard from the COG meeting, that there were anticipations of like 40% of restaurants going out of business in the DC area as a result of what's happening at the federal level. To me, it seems like now is maybe a time to have a little more money in business retention, because we've gotten all these wonderful businesses in our city that we're very excited about, and I'm a little concerned that we're going to lose some of those in this business climate. That's why I proposed a little more there.
All right. Do you have any question of the general budget as a whole? Mr. Young, do you have something?
I just wanted to comment. I think also for council, our situation in College Park is much different than some of the outlying areas. Our restaurants only really count on like 8 months worth of revenues. And so that is where we struggle every year, even without the economy where it's at. So just to keep that.
That adds more challenges to which we're already facing in this area. Mr. Anchor, high level.
High level. Mr. Fields, in our estimated FY total, the excess revenue over expenditures, so for instance, the 731,265 that's projected here, do you know, does that include, is that including numbers that we're not expecting to spend $400,000 on the Meals on Wheels?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we were spending it, then it would be closer to 1.1.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you. So we are not going to now this is the time we're going to make the decisions. And the first proposals, I suggest that we decide on whether to make a change, any change to the overall budget as presented by city manager. And we suggested that we should be deciding that by show of hands. There will not be any motion or second or formal votes. Right? That's our city attorney suggested. Right? Yes.
Just a work session.
It's a work session.
Just to reach consensus.
So, yeah, it is the way, because we need to find a way to make a decision, and that's the way we'll be doing it. We'll not be taking a vote tonight.
I mean, it is helpful to make the decision this evening if possible, but formal action will occur next week.
Yeah, at that time we'll be having a motion and a vote.
Call to
Mr. Wright?
question?
My suggestion was going to be that rather than raising hands on line by line, we have, if there was consensus, that we have each council member assert which of the 7 COAs, with COA 7 being no changes from the council member's budget, most closely approximates their preferences. And then that would be what we would bring to the final introduced budget amendment that we would bring next week. So in other words, you'd say, John, which one do you like? And I would say, I like all of Jacob's. No, just kidding. I would pick one. And sort of go on down the line, kind of see where that leaves us, because we could very well find that we have 3 or 4 votes for one kind of package, as it were, or we might find that we need more discussion as a result of that. But that might not be how you wish to proceed. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, so, but also you suggested, remember that there could be an option outside of these COAs, 6 COAs, that nobody wants to make any change.
I agree, but I think that gives us a template to begin with, right? So, because I think we have 7 reasonable templates, including a no change template, that could provide us with something, a jumping off point. And the first conversation would be whether there's something that receives a plurality of votes that could serve as something that we could iterate further upon, because there's 7 pretty different.
What do the rest of the council think? I mean,
So,
now we are going vertical instead of horizontal.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I can interject, I concur with my Councilman Rigg that we go with the 7 recommended budget course of actions and start with District 1, and everybody will pick which one that they like the most, and we can thread the needle after that.
Let's hear from others. What do you think? Going vertical?
I agree.
Okay. You like that?
If I can add a twist, I also think it would be appropriate for you to assert your preference as well. I mean, this is the mayor and council's budget, and this is not a formal vote. So I would think that you should, if you wish to, also sort of stipulate your preference.
Mr. Ranka?
I would also like to, after this conversation, which I think has been helpful, if you can just look at COA 5, make the green streets down to 100,000, zero out the. Sorry, I'm amending mine based on the conversation so that I can vote for mine in good conscience.
CIP, the number 1 thing right here.
Okay, you want to do what?
Move that down to 100. And then if you go down to the next part, the new line items, the small business daycare, 0. And then I'm zeroing out, sorry, Mr. Mayor, the 50,000 specifically for federal.
Just
So that leaves the overall number, if my math is correct, at 262,023.
Okay. All right, let's go down
Okay.
to District 1.
Can I'm sorry, on the last 2, the home ownership or leaving, and the 50,000 for Mayor Kabir's,
It's going up to emergency.
although that's his.
Yeah,
I
that-
mean,
that would-
wasn't supposed to be yours, but
That could be included in emergency assistance grants, 75,000.
I only put it under yours for convenience, so.
So you can zero out. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so let's, interesting. I thought we'll be going horizontal, now I'm going vertical. So looks like the council wants to go COA 1 to 6 plus no change option, which is COA 7. All right, let's do COA 1. So by show of hands, right? Am I doing right?
I'm so sorry, I'm confused. I thought we were each going to say which one we preferred, not go one by one.
So, make comments on,
No, people would just say, like, you came to me and I'll be like, I, Susan Whitney, I'm thinking I'm COA 6. And then we'll ask what somebody else says. And then we get a sense of where council is.
So everyone
Okay.
will just give their preference.
They'll just say, this is my favorite. And
Okay.
then maybe we know, including you.
so,
And then we'll know.
so
where
you guys already have made cases for each COAs. We don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to do it again.
Yeah,
That's
Don't
what
you
I'm
do it
asking.
again?
So that's what I'm asking.
So,
but
Mr.
I was
Mayor-
asking by show of hands, basically.
No. Mr. Mayor, we're gonna go district by district, and each person from their district will say which one they want.
I was following our parliamentarians. It goes, it'll just take more time. District 1, what do you think? It's CO1. This is your COS, so you support it, right?
Well, no, actually,
You don't
this is
need
a
to
very
explain.
humorous thing for me because it's just like we're all working through a space that we're all just trying to. It's just good.
You
I'm doing my best here. I'm doing my best to be professional.
Just say yes or no. Just say yes or no. You don't need to.
No, honestly, where I'm at with this is if I wanted to do the same thing Councilmember Raker did to just amend mine, I would just, and this is just for COA 1 so that I can vote for mine with full support, just hearing staff's input, is changing it from 122 additional to the business attractions and just putting it at 80, and then the remaining 42,000 to the business facade and improvement. And then I'll vote for COA 1 as a primary, and then I will give my other vote to Councilmember Rinkers.
Hold on.
Oh, now we have official rules for this? Like, what is happening? What happened? We were doing,
Are we doing ranked choice
we should
voting
do
now?
ranked choice voting.
Dude,
Hold on.
put it in a
One-
hat. We're
one
not
at a
voting at
time,
all. We're
one
not
at a time.
voting at all. We're just having a friendly discussion.
Mr. Fields, do you get the numbers?
Can we get clear, you were
Hold
talking
on.
about
Let's
COA
help Mr. Rick.
1.
Sorry.
Can you tell me you wanted to change number 1 to what?
80,000 for the business attraction and retention, 42,000 for business facade and improvement. So just breaking it up across the two programs.
Oh, I see, it's 42 for, all right, got it. All right.
All right.
And that's the only change to it?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. No one's gonna support it.
Okay.
So you got one. You support it, Mr. Hill. Do you support COA 1 with the change?
What does he want to support?
He gets to choose his.
He chooses what he wants.
Okay. So this is your preference, COA 1. Mr. Hill, do you have any preference or not? There is a COA 7, which is no change.
COA 7.
Okay. Okay. And
COA 7.
COA 7 got 2 words. Mr. Whitney, Ms. Whitney.
COA 6.
COA 6.
COA 7.
All right. Ms. Mackey.
COA 5.
COA 5. Okay. And Mr. Ranker.
I'll stick with 5.
And Mr. Ray.
COA 6. So that doesn't help us, but we tried.
Can I change my vote?
Yeah.
Why not? Why can't I change my vote? Or my unofficial
Okay, go ahead.
position?
I allow you to change it.
Okay, I would change mine to COA 5.
Okay.
So how many are COA 5? 3?
We have 3 on COA 5, we have 2 on COA
And 3
6,
on COA
and
7.
2 on COA 3 on 7, sorry.
So 3
And
plus 3
Mr. Mayor,
plus
do you have a preference? You could break a tie.
Thank you, Maxine.
Can't, Mr. Oh, sorry.
I like COA 5 too. So is that the end of the discussion?
I think we have a plurality.
So COA 7 and COA 5.
We have 3 for COA 7, 2 for COA 6, and 4 for COA 5.
Can I ask my colleagues who voted for COA 6 why that one and not COA 5?
smaller dollar number. I'm somewhat persuaded by. That's true, and Mr. Rangers is also smaller. I honestly was on the fence between them, but I had to vote because I made myself vote.
I got it.
Okay.
Well, not
Thank you.
vote, just assuming your position.
So CO7s can change their vote?
You can change your vote whenever you want. We need to come to a consensus, though. It seems like we're approaching a consensus on something resembling
doesn't-
COA 5 as the jumping off point for further amendments should we desire to do that, which I would not encourage us to do, but we could.
Yeah, do you want to make an amendment? I think it'll be messy.
How many for COA 5?
We have
Four.
four, and, you know, if you want me to go to 5, I can go to 5.
No, COA 5 has 4, right?
Correct. COA 5 with 4, COA 6 with 2, COA 7 with 3.
I think that those three are the ones.
Can we check the math on that?
Because it don't sound right.
Yeah, I don't think the math looks right on that, on his being
Because
lower.
they added the mayor, I think.
Oh, you have a reduction that I don't have. Is that the difference? Okay, got it.
Yeah. All right, so, Mr. Fields, you have the COA 5.
I'm sorry, say it again?
So COA 5, the council has decided to go with the COA 5.
No, I think we're saying that's, we're starting we're continuing the conversation now that we know where we are.
It's not a done deal.
Yeah.
Nothing's a done deal until we vote.
Councilmember Astor has her hands up, Mr. Mayor.
So you can say we can say we're throwing out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. So do you suggest that we go now from the COA 5, which it looks like the most preferred one, we go line by line on each item and decide?
Mr. Mayor? So since Councilmember Esters Hernandez was able to change his vote, can others change their vote too?
Please go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to vote for CAO6.
It's still, I think COA 5 has highest, right, Mr. Ring?
Well, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I'm changing my vote to CAO6.
Okay.
So it really seems like there's just two, I mean, like, there's two.
As well as I would change to 6.
There's basically three differences. And so if there's, in terms of the business facade, the city homeownership grant, and the elimination of the deputy city manager, those are the three differences, right? At this point.
I'd like to change my vote again. Sorry. I didn't know that we were eliminating the position in this particular one. I would just change it to 6.
Okay. So it looks like 6 has the most votes.
But, oh no, sorry.
Huh?
I really like the fact that 5 had the 50,000 for the business facade and improvement. And if there's any way we can find that space in 6, I'd greatly appreciate it.
All right, so do you have a consensus that we have COA 6 as the most preferred one? Looks like so? Yeah.
My suggestion is that we declare victory. We use that as our template and have discussions amongst ourselves this week for next week, and we can present minor amendments to COA 6 in next week's, based on public comment, of course, in next week's, well, we've already had the comment period, so it'll be in next week's business meeting.
So we're gonna have another work session, sounds like.
No.
The way you're suggesting.
There's no, I'm sorry.
It's Thursday.
Did someone mention public hearing? No. Oh, okay. Just making-
May I ask a question? How much would be freed up if we, like currently the position for the, okay, we've got, right now, the original plan was for the assistant city manager to be a half-year position, right? And for the to the assistant for the economic development officer to be full year. How much?
That's correct. The deputy city manager for half the year, and the economic development position was
Full year.
Okay, so
All right.
how much money would be freed up if we started it in Q2? If we waited, like, if we did not hire for Q1? Just a question.
You mean fiscal year or?
The fiscal year, like,
Fiscal
if
year.
it was 75% of the full salary instead of 100% of the full salary? Do you
For
know?
economic development?
For economic development.
Would just be half of 49,000.
I'm roughly looking at 49,000 savings, roughly $100,000 for the year. So I
Okay.
would say it would save
25,000.
25,000.
Not significant. Okay, I'd be willing to split the attraction and retention across attraction and retention and facade and improvement. Just saying that. Or maybe we don't want to go down.
We down to 6, and they just making a concession.
Can I just ask, like, I guess we can have this conversation offline, to be honest with you. If we just go off of 6 and then have the conversation offline with regards to the other things. All right. Of course, never more.
Yes, within bounds.
So there, in the next week, Mr. Reg, as I hear from you, there, based on COS 6, there could be minor changes, and there will be a motion on the final adoption.
Yeah, that's what I would anticipate, and I would just urge, I mean, obviously, I can't make anybody do anything, including my own family, but I would suggest my colleagues who are like my family to try to keep any, especially you, Dr. Astor, to try to keep any future amendments to the de minimis, variety, like, I don't know, maybe no more than $50,000 total, just so that we don't wander into right field again, especially when we need to get the budget adopted. We had a really good conversation today, and we put some structure on it that I think got us some places. So thank you.
All right. All right, Mr. Field, everything is clear to you?
Can I guess I want to make sure we're on the same page here, or I'm on the same page as y'all. So we're looking at
COA
6. Did I hear that you're looking at putting the facade and improvement grant of 50 grand from 5?
No,
adding
Mr.
that to
Fields, so
6?
what we're gonna
No.
do is we're gonna have an offline discussion and then
6.
come back to you with the recommendations on those 2 items.
So 6 as is? Okay.
Yes.
6 as is, yeah.
I would just say my only concern there is the budget has to be approved by May 31st by charter.
No, we'll be approving next week. We'll be approving next week.
Okay, well, with trying to make changes next week on the 20th.
We don't have
Is
another
there a
meeting.
meeting on the 27th?
No, there is no other meeting.
So next week,
Yeah.
it needs
Nobody
to be
can go
done.
home unless we adopt your budget.
Okay, so I'm going to prepare the proposed budget as amended will be with COA 6. Okay?
Yeah. And if anyone wants to make an amendment, they can procedurally. Hopefully there will not be.
And a friendly reminder, we can always make a budget amendment halfway in the year, right? As Dr. Esther's described. So if we find that we need to move money around between economic incentives, like if we have to or whatever, right?
If I can just remind council as well, we do have an item, and Gary, hopefully he can remind me, we do also have a contingency budget if you decide to utilize some of those dollars for one of the small programs.
All right. All right. We're done with it then? Mr. Fields?
I'm sorry, I was looking at, go ahead.
No, you're good for next week?
I am good. And yes,
Okay.
we do have some contingency dollars that could be reduced somewhat, but we're good.
Thank you. All right. Done with it. Now we go to the last item of the work sessions. There's C25G49, discussion of legislative action request to the Maryland Municipal League, MML. Mr. Gardiner, please
All right.
take it
Good
away.
evening, Mayor and Council. I think think this will be a little quicker than the last item. Every year, MML will request all municipalities to consider submitting proposals for the MML's consideration as priority legislation for the upcoming session. So we just finished the last session. Today, actually, the governor signed the bill that we supported to increase the municipal fines. But by the end of this month, MML is hoping that they will receive from its members a range of possible bills or issues that they will consider to adopt as priorities. In the packet, I indicated some of the criteria that they use to make that decision. Last year, we did submit an LAR, a legislative action request, to MML. They didn't consider it as a priority, but they did support it later on. We have not very often, I think, at least since I've been here, submitted LARs, but we have, as you know, supported lots of legislation during the session. I've reached out to the delegation, our lobbyists, some adjoining regional municipalities to see if they had suggestions that we could submit, and got a few ideas. And those ideas are in the packet. We could submit up to 3, or we could submit none. It's not critical that we do either. But just for consideration, one bill that didn't pass this year was the bill that would prohibit blocking bike lanes. I did speak to someone with the Washington Area Bicycle Association, and they plan to resubmit it. I don't know with or without amendments. Since we were strong advocates for it, we may wish to put this forward to MML, and if they take it, great. If not, at least more municipalities will be aware of the issue early on. Gaithersburg is going to submit an LAR related to the Family Leave Act that the state has pushed down the road another couple years, but it's a rather expensive benefit that will be mandated on municipalities. What Gaithersburg's request is for the state to pass legislation that would allow municipalities who provide equal benefits to not have to also comply with the state regulations. That is fairly common with other kinds of programs. I think if it were to pass, ultimately it would be less expensive for the municipalities who would comply under their own program. However, I'm not sure MML is going to be interested in taking this on because there probably aren't going to be a lot of municipalities who would pursue that route. And then another possible LAR that I thought I would at least present to you is related to state assessments. And this would be legislation that would allow for a municipality to request a reassessment if there's evidence, really through a land sale or a property transaction, that the property value is more than 20% above what the assessed value is. On the flip side of that, a business can appeal an assessment based on a sale value. And so this would kind of give the municipalities the right to appeal an assessment if a sale value indicates that the property is under-assessed based on a property transaction, and the state could consider having a reassessment mid-cycle instead of waiting for the end of the cycle. So those were the items. I did ask if the delegation and our lobbyists had some suggestions, perhaps related to healthcare, some of the things that they supported in the just ended session, and didn't hear back from them at this time. So we could submit any one of these, we could submit none of these. Of course, we're going to be advocating for legislation when the upcoming session occurs, but we could also put something forward to MML.
All right, I see some show of hands. Ms. Mitchell and Ms. Whitney.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager Gardner, for the information. I am interested about the SDAT, and I just wanted to ask for clarification. Would that also include notification to municipalities that a entity is getting a tax assessed, trying to get appeal?
I don't know what the current notification process is. I know there's been some discussion about making sure that municipalities get prior notice. I don't know if Gaithersburg's LAR would include that.
Okay, I mean, if we could expound on that, if it's a possibility, I think that was something that we as a city got caught with during COVID, regarding some of the bigger commercial entities that went to get appeal and we didn't know about it. And I think that, that should be a part of the mandate, that they, the entity notify the city that they are going up for appeal, if we can do that. But I appreciate your due diligence.
About that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Ms. Whitney.
Building on that, just a quick question. This would just be commercial properties? Like, the city wouldn't be doing that for homes, would it? Or would it?
I think the intent is commercial properties, including residential apartments, multifamily.
Okay, thank you. And other than that, I mean, you know that I'm all 110% for the legislation not allowing people to stop or stand in bike lanes, and definitely not allowing the carve out for delivery vehicles, because that's the problem.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's the problem Route 1 bike lanes. It's constantly hearing problems, blocking the bike lanes. Any other comments? Please go ahead.
I apologize. Vacant and blighted in regards to municipalities having first right of refusal. Vacant and blighted properties. Is there any talk about that?
First right of refusal to purchase a vacant and blighted
Yes.
property?
Yes.
Not that I have heard.
Okay. Because I know some entities in the Ocean City area, Ocean City municipalities were discussing that. So I didn't know if that's something you heard. But I would be of interest to see what kind of legislation or what are they talking about regarding that. And that may be some of a tool for us as we continue to talk about that here.
All right. Ms. Mackey.
So I was wondering, so you did contact all the delegation and asked them for their priorities, and did you say that some didn't get back to you? Or you're waiting on some? I'm sorry, I must have misheard.
I received responses from most of our delegation.
Okay.
But not concrete proposals.
Okay, I was just wondering because I know that there have been a lot of environmental and ideas going out there, but I don't know what our priorities for our 21st delegation. I haven't heard, but I thought maybe you might know.
I think they are recovering from.
I think they maybe are
recession
recovering
and
from that too, and aren't thinking
waiting for
of
the-
that right now. That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And because this is a state organization, MML, we cannot ask them to take the to the land use authority bill, right? Because it's only Prince George's. They might not.
Yeah, they would not.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell them make it equitable to other counties in the state. Any other? Oh, Mr. Hill.
Yes, what about the noise, modified mufflers ordinance? I know that right now it's just, it's like in a trial period, but can we push for it to become, part of the legislation.
Is it, now is it going through a pilot, right? On the,
I'd like to reach out to Delegate Lehman to get a sense of, what she would recommend. She's been a leader on that legislation, and we could find out whether she may prefer that the pilot goes through and then they get some data and then decide which direction to take it.
it's now 10:30, do you need a motion?
Motion to extend the meeting?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no abstention. Please continue. All right. Ms. Whitney?
Just to follow up on that, do we know where the 3 locations or whatever in the county, where the noise cameras were going in?
I do not.
Have we actually
And I
requested?
I would need to
Probably.
go back and look at the bill and kind of figure out what happened.
I think Byron Heights or Greenbelt probably made the request. I heard something. I'd like to see how they work, actually.
We'd love a sign over on Kenilworth, or noise.
Yes, I would agree with Kenilworth, because it does help give data for Greenbelt, Berwyn Heights, and College Park. So it's a good location, I think, for us.
Yeah.
I personally would think, Rhode Island Avenue, right in the immediate residential space to help
Yeah,
address that.
no, that is a good location as well, but Kenilworth Avenue also has residential homes next to it. People can't sleep.
For LARs to submit to MML, if you're interested for next week's meeting, we could propose the bike lane
Yeah.
bill and the appeal of assessed value. Would that work?
Yes. Yeah, the addition, and I think if we can tag along with Gaithersburg on their LAR, I think it make more impact coming from a bigger city.
I think so.
All right, the 2 items. Mr. Ranker.
I'm new to this piece, especially too. But I recall that when construction on Route 1 was happening and the bike lanes were done to state specifications and not to city specifications on bike lanes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there something in there that we could, is there something that the municipalities could advocate for, that when there are things like that, that the higher standards would be, considered, or something along those lines, especially for bike lanes? But maybe this is just.
If you look at Baltimore Avenue in particular, where, it's a state right of way. The other issues was the property acquisition cost, and trying to keep constrained, as well as utility is a big impact, and that's why you see the smaller footprint than what was originally envisioned by the city. And so yes, I mean, it would be nice to have that, but I can tell you that the corridors that we're talking about going down, particularly for that are state highway administration, with the exception of maybe Greenbelt Road, you just don't have that. You don't have the width to be able to do that without impacting businesses significantly, just to create a bike lane.
Unless you make property acquisitions.
So, if I can follow up on that, then, so you're saying that the primary issue in our case was less about the state saying, well, we're going to do it this way because this is our state, this is how we do it on the state level, and it had more to do with kind of the related expenses? Okay, that's helpful.
And Mr. Mayor, if I can just, for our colleague, Mr. Ranker, as Councilmember Hernandez has brought up the process of LARs for MML, MML is only going to deal with LARs that are going to help all 160 municipalities, not just what's for Prince George's and College Park specifically, because that's the fight at the table all the time. That we have to look out for everyone, and that's in essence, we have to look at a holistic approach, unfortunately. And that's why we have lobbyists, to help us with our own priorities.
All right. So those are only 2 items you have? If
Looks
you,
good, thanks.
if you want to add, we need to make an amendment to the request. I think with the 2 items, this letter is going to be in consent, right, next week?
I'm sorry.
Are you going to send a letter to MML?
This will be on the agenda for next week.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In consent.
And it'll be identifying the 2 items.
Okay. All right, the council is good with that? Thank you.
No, that was an okay.
Sign language. All right, so we're done with all the work session items, and now is the time to have requests for status of future agenda items. I haven't seen any application.
Mine
Ms.
will be
Whitney?
submitted tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, originally on the future agenda item for this week, there was the introduction of the ordinance for no stopping or standing in a bike lane. And that was pushed to next week, but that's not on the list here, so I just want to ensure that that is indeed going to be on the agenda for next week.
It will be. Ms. Allen?
It is on the agenda for next week for discussion, not for introduction.
Oh, yes, yes, of
Thank
course. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I have a question about proclamations or the Public Service Week or month, right? This month is a Public Service Month. In the past, I thought we used to make proclamations on this month, but I don't think we're doing this month. Maybe it's not on the list. Maybe we should be adding it. We have great public servants. Should recognize them.
We just did Public Works.
Public
Week
Works.
today.
And Building Safety Month.
Public Services?
No, there's
Public
public service.
Public Service Recognition Week, it was 2 weeks ago, so,
That was a week, was it?
yeah,
Oh,
and it
it's
was
not a
2
month.
weeks ago.
Maybe next year we should be making a proclamation.
We do have Emergency Medical Services Week next week.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a different week. It's called Public Service Week. Yeah, we missed it. All right, Ms. Mitchell, do you want to give heads up what you're going to submit as an application, future agenda?
did the audit process. We talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
So I just put it in.
okay. Anyone else wants to add? All right. Seeing none, this is the time to hear comments from audience. You have a great audience in the room. If you have any comments, you have 3 minutes to come and speak on any items on your head. You're good, right? All right, thank you. If you're online, let me see. We still have a few residents online. Yeah, I don't see any virtual hands. Let's go to the comments from Mayor, Council, Student Liaison, and City Managers. So Mr. Rigg, pass.
I have no comments, thank you.
Pass. Ms. Mackey?
I had one. I had the privilege of going to the kickoff event for the senior activity at the College Park Woods Clubhouse, which is a wonderful, beautiful facility. I encourage everybody to use it and go to it. And I also want to give a shout out to the senior, about the senior activities. There's a lot going on, and I look forward to meeting more seniors and being able to walk to the facility. Thank you.
That is a wonderful group. They were at the farmers market last week. Yeah, fantastic. Nice to see them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to say thank you to the city and to my colleague, Ms. Mackey, for bringing the Care Solace initiative to the council for consideration, but most importantly, having the opportunity to talk to Care Solace last Friday about the benefits of the program. I have to admit that I have to say I did get somewhat emotional. Maybe I'm getting older, I don't know, but I got emotional because it was very thought-provoking But I just want to say to the residents of College Park, this is a resource that is it's free, but most importantly, it's about how to keep you whole.
Yes.
How to help you with your quality of life, and there's no judgment to it. If you need it, it is there for you, and I hope anyone who does need it, please reach out and make the call. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and giving interviews. Ms. Mackey, thank you also. I heard you also gave the interview. I also had time to talk to them. It's a wonderful program, I agree. Ms. Whitney?
Pass.
And Dr. Esters?
Pass.
Mr. Hill?
Yes, I had the privilege of attending the Berwyn Ballet performance. It was very inspiring to see young people learning about Western cultural arts, performing arts, and classical music and things like that. Seeing how their form and inspiration of dance will be following them through life from this experience. And I truly believe it's a great asset to our city, and I hope that there'll be more opportunities for our residents to participate in viewing their performances and their achievements and embrace them better.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting local business. And the business is run by actually someone who lives in District 1, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, they were called Berwyn Ballet because they started out in the Berwyn neighborhood, but they moved to District 1. They're in the Long and Foster building now next to China Buffet in District 1. But they do have their roots in District 2.
Yes. Mr. Hernandez?
I just want to thank the city staff and everyone who made last week's first Friday Night Live a success. Folks were definitely rocking on. And also congratulations to Taqueria Habanero for opening up right across the street. I know they've really adapted to the market and have done everything that they can to remain in College Park, so thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, staff, for keeping them in College Park with our business retention grants. All right, we do not have our student liaison, so let's go to our city. Huh? No, the new one we have. But from next week. Mr. Young, final thoughts?
Nothing further, thank you.
All right, so then I can entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Miss Mitchell and Mr. Hill, right?
Who made the motion?
Miss Mitchell and Mr. Hill.
Okay, so Hugh seconded?
Yes.
Mr. Hugh seconded. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, any abstention? Motion approved. We are adjourned. Good night, College Park.
It's gonna rain today and tomorrow.